Ooh, dope. So I'm currently on my chatting screen. So we'll see, yeah, how quickly it transitions over. So you guys are still muted, so we'll keep it quiet for now. No, I'm kidding. Just so that I can say hi to the people. Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Or I should say, what's up, everybody? I don't know why I said what's up like a pleb, but wow, I'm feeling interesting because I'm seated not in my normal spot in front of a piano. But how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Why is my feed being weird? Are people here? Oh, okay. Some people are here. Yes, hello, Radana. Mad Piano Life. Noel, Sam G. Yo. Sorry, I'm just getting one last thing set up and then we'll be good. Is this a new camera angle? No, it's not a new camera angle. I've done this one before. If you remember, if you were around for some of my like chilling streams, like when I was playing chess, I was seated right here too. So, yeah, really good. How about you? I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Oh, the Aniplex Online Fest is at the same time. Well, all I gotta say is that I mean I put this announcement out like 2 weeks ago, or like not. I didn't put it out 2 weeks ago, but I planned it over 2 weeks ago. Right? I think. Yeah, somewhere around in the ballpark of 2 weeks ago. So. But anyways, you guys aren't here to talk to me, I suppose, because you see me every week. But instead, we are going to be talking to the one and only. Is my audio good? Oh, I'm like so nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, is something gonna go off? Something going wrong? But all right, it looks like everything's good. It looks like people are responding well. So let's transition over to introducing our guests for tonight. First time having guests, or second time having guests, but first time having guests with video cameras on this stream. But all right, we've got the Meeks Duo. Oh my gosh. And we're live. Yes.
Oh, we're on. Oh,
yeah. Wait, are you guys watching the stream too? On a separate device?
Yeah, we're trying to,
well, it's not
but it's
loading.
not loading.
Oh, okay. Oop. Well, yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, wait, now there we go.
There you are. Yes. It's
I was like
hello.
looking the whole time.
You guys have done your own streams before, but how's it feel to be on someone else's stream? Like, is it the same? Is it different?
Well,
Well,
it's very different.
yeah, every time we did a stream, we always played a concert first, and then,
Then chat at the end.
yeah.
But now it's
Yeah.
chatting, no concert. Yeah. Well, all right. Let me see how the chat is doing and looking at that. And oh, maybe should I read your bio? I should read your bio.
Oh.
we gotta make it official. We gotta make it official, Scott. Okay. This is the Meeks Duo. If you guys don't know the Meeks Duo, then I don't know what's wrong with you. You should go sub to them. Links in the description and mods. If it's not in the description, you should throw it into the chat, because that would be very nice. But the Meeks Duo are Scott and Claire, and they are based in Vancouver. And they play lots of forehand stuff. I'm skimming your bio. I'm not actually reading it, so as you can tell. But yeah, they've been recording a lot recently, and recording's not easy. So you should go and support since they play really, really well. And it's really, really encouraging to see pros step into our world of any piano as well. So, anyways, Sky and Claire, I honestly don't have an itinerary for tonight. I have no idea what I want to do aside from maybe at some point ask some questions. But you are just as free to ask me questions and just as free to discuss anything that's on your mind as I am. So
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
yeah.
Be ready.
Oh no, I shouldn't have said that. Now Claire's gonna ask me all the weird questions about being a Libra and stuff like that.
Well, but the thing is, I already know how weird it is being Libra.
So for context, I have no idea what my horoscope is. And I've never thought about it in my life, but Claire told me that it deduced that I am a Libra without even knowing my birthday. So big ups to Claire.
Yay.
But I guess I can. Oh, hello, Xiaotong's here too, and Andy SG. Wow, European gang, a Singapore gang, and Asian gang. Let's go. Hello. But let's start with the ye old question that nobody asked. I'm surprised that nobody asked, but it's like, how did both of you get into playing piano? Like, where's the career start for both of you, or where does the journey start?
Well, I don't really remember this, but my mom told me that apparently when I was in kindergarten and I saw somebody practicing the piano at school, so then I dragged her and then I said, I want to do that too. And the funny thing is, because I was born a big kid, like a big baby. For her, but so I was always taller than the kids who were around the same age. So then she took me to this piano teacher who teaches at our kindergarten, and the teacher thought I was one of the older grades because I looked.
Oh, okay.
Like, okay, sure. And then maybe I don't know, sometime later, like after we started our lessons, then she found out one day, she's like, why you're one of the younger ones? She's like, I don't take people this young, but then I guess I was like the quiet kind, so she's like, okay. I can work.
Yeah, you deceived her with your appearance. With your elderly appearance.
Oh yeah, so the piano journey kind of began from there.
Wow, that's quite an eventful start. Fooling a piano teacher just to get your way into the studio. Okay.
Yes.
How about you, Scott? How about you?
Well, I had an older brother who was playing before me, and I think I've just always liked music, so I don't remember specific instances, but I'm guessing that I probably tried to play stuff on the piano before I could. I had a toy guitar which I like to play. Yeah, so pretty much I just followed my older brother's footsteps at the beginning.
Wow.
And
Wait,
how
old were you?
6.
6? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I remember. Oh, sorry.
No, you
I
got it.
remember a big turning point for me was, I think, around age 10. I heard my teacher play for the first time, like perform a concert, and that really motivated me. So
interesting. Yeah. So I guess then the next question, right, is that like, oh wow, this is turning into an interview real fast. I feel like I can switch on to interview mode, like, as you probably know by now, based on the discussions that we've had. So please stop me if this is becoming a little bit too austere for something that's supposed to be a little bit more chill. But like, so I guess the next logical question is, it's one thing to become inspired to play the piano as a kid. It's another to then say, oh, I want to make this my life career, right? And something that I'm doing, or like even spending 7 additional years, potentially up to 7 additional years of schooling to learn about, right? So at what point did playing the piano or playing music become like, okay, this is what I want to do with my life?
Well, I was always I always enjoyed practicing piano. So my parents had like this really different experience as most of these other parents, because they would come into my practice room and go, can you just stop for like 1 minute?
Instead of, can you actually start playing?
Be like, we want some silence, please. Kind of thing. So so I think I've always just enjoyed practicing, but I remember it was one of these local festival type of competition that I did. I think I did pretty well in it, and I think it gave me confidence, and that's when I felt like, okay, maybe I should consider doing this. And also the adjudicator was from one of the nearby universities. So I was like, oh, I wanted to study with him. So I think that was like a point where I started thinking maybe this is what I want to do. Because I was kind of debating between this and medical school.
Why is it always? I feel like with musicians or like classical musicians in the anti-piano community, it's always like, I'm either going into STEM or I'm going into music, or I'm gonna like go into STEM and then like have half a foot in music for the rest of my life. I don't know. That's just an interesting thread, a common thread that I've noticed in conversations.
Actually, we know a couple people who went to music first, but then they switched to law.
Yeah.
Not science. Yeah, and
interesting. Wow.
yeah, at least 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music and law.
Music
Or
and
like,
law.
is it Handel?
A lot of composers
Yeah,
were forced
he went
to
to
study law.
and then
really?
switched to music. I guess that's a different order.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Is it
their
because of, like,
parents.
getting patrons and stuff like that.
I think.
Like
Well, the composers' parents
Yeah.
wanted them to earn a good living, so
Right, and not music.
they discouraged.
And in the modern day, it's STEM. So.
So yeah, whenever I teach my students about history. When a composer does well or did well, I'd be like, look. Not all musicians are like, oh.
Yeah. They can do other things too. Yeah. But yeah, how about you, Scott? At what point were you like, I'm doing music?
Well, I think it was similar. I entered local competitions, I guess, from age 12, and even before that, I'd always liked performing. So I guess the combination of the as a shy person, I guess music was the way to express myself, and I had that need to do that. So I performed as much as I could and was successful. So that, like Claire, that gave me confidence to pursue, and meeting adjudicators who I could consult with helping me decide where to go and stuff like that. So yeah, a combination of things.
Interesting. Wow. Meeting adjudicators before college and consulting with them.
Yeah. Very important.
Yeah. So that, I guess that's the first lesson for all the young people out there who want to go.
Yeah,
into
just
music.
not being shy. Just walk up to them and introduce yourself, or even.
Well, with some competitions they have rules that you're not allowed to talk.
But usually at the end.
Oh yeah, like at the very end.
Or just if you get a chance, then just now everything is email addresses are mostly public, so you can just go find their profiles and write to them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And do it regularly.
Yeah.
You have to find, don't be annoying, but
Don't be annoying.
Don't be annoying.
How do you know?
Yeah.
Scott beats down the door when it's not open to him. But yeah, so what's since I honestly don't know, what's the process like for selecting a conservatory and then like auditioning to go into conservatory? At least how it was like when you were applying.
Oh, this is difficult. I think one of the things I was suggested was to attend these summer festivals, and ideally, if you could have some lessons with the teachers you're interested in. So I think most people, they follow the teachers. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, the teacher I ended up going to, I just happened to meet this other student at a competition, I think my last year of high school, in the fall, so before application season. And this student highly recommended the teacher in Oberlin that I went to. Actually, it was a husband and wife team, Angela Cheng, Alvin Chow. So I studied with Alvin. But yeah, it was just through meeting this one competitor at a competition that,
wow,
if I didn't meet him, I probably wouldn't have gone that path. So
wow, networking.
Network, yeah. So not only teachers, but just your actually what you guys are doing in this piano community is so great. Everyone is so open to communicate. It's really inspiring for us to see young people not being afraid.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're right. I feel so young. Like here.
That's really important.
Like...
Yeah. And then hopefully all you guys are doing that in real life too, not just on your credits, but talking to people in real life is very important.
Interesting. So then, okay, beyond like, you know, conservatory, and I suppose we could talk about like what a career of someone who graduates from conservatory or, you know, pursues higher education in music looks like later. But like, at what point did you guys? We talked about this before we went live, but I'm just gonna ask again. What point did you guys decide to start on YouTube, or like actually become more serious about YouTube?
Well, both of us posted our videos, like our solo videos, all the way back since undergrad. And then we did live concerts, I guess, since 2015 and 2014. So we'd post those on YouTube, but we just post them and leave them. And maybe once every few months we get one comment. We just weren't active. We had like 10 subscribers maybe.
Right. And I guess the main thing was like last year when the pandemic started. Yeah. That's when we decided to stream live concerts from our home, like on a weekly basis. Yeah. So I think that was probably a point. Yeah, when we look at our graph of YouTube activity, it just rose so much when we started live streams. And you know, you encourage people to subscribe and start a mailing list and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was the live streams which boosted kind of started.
But then we stopped them, and I guess the channel was quiet. Well, we'd post videos from the live streams, like because we had like I don't know 20 hours of music to cut up and post one piece at a time. But then we started doing these weekly recordings. I guess. Yeah, because we felt it was different. I don't know. And it's interesting. Yeah, and we started up with some pieces that haven't been performed yet, like that were sent to us personally, or. Oh, and then we discovered the fun of anime music.
Yes.
Yeah. That's actually
they're weebs too. Okay.
I mean, I've watched anime since I was a teenager, off and on. But this arranging thing, I guess the teaching, and I used to accompany a lot, like string players, so that would take up a lot of time, and I'd always be out of the house or rehearsing, learning a violin sonata, like many pieces at the same time. So I didn't have much time to arrange, but now with more free time, I discovered this real love for it. Actually, this is kind of related. Back in high school, I would arrange, this was before YouTube, I would arrange MIDI files of video game music, like Final Fantasy. And you can still find these files. Like if you search, I still remember like the file names, something .mid, like chrono triggered.
Oh, in the MIDI, yeah.
Yeah, and these MIDIs are still circulating, and I know which ones are mine just by listening to the arrangements. It's amazing. What you post on YouTube never goes away. So
yes. Let that be a lesson to everyone watching as well.
Right.
Yes, never goes away.
Oh, no. I that reminds me, I should have promoted Happy Clare in my description as well. For if the mods can get Claire's personal channel in the chat as well, that would be nice. Because she's doing some. What's the last video you posted? A Dusk review? Or did you do another one?
Yeah, that's something I'm starting. Well, I did review videos before, but not as many. My channel was more focused on like cooking stuff and musician comedy.
Yes, types of piano teachers. I saw that one, and I was like, I'm singing one. I sing a lot.
We all do. Yeah. So actually, Claire has been a YouTuber for a while, so I guess that helped to do this weekly post thing. Right. I guess and I think from like those videos, it really taught me things in editing videos. And so with our current like music videos and things, like there was still a bit of a learning curve, but definitely easier than if I was to start from scratch. Yeah. Right. So I've been following like YouTubers talking about how to make your scene look prettier, you know, that kind of thing. Like I'm not professional, but you know, you pick up it too.
watching those. Yeah.
Yeah, the grassroots effort. Wait, so okay, I think in one of our previous conversations, this was Clary mentioned this, but what was your first interaction with anime piano? Do you remember?
You mean on YouTube specifically?
Or like in general, like at all?
In general. Oh, wow, our students.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
No.
Yes.
I mean, well, before that, when Spirited Away came out, I think I was searching for music back then, before YouTube. So yeah, and Fruits Basket, the 2001 version. We don't want to give away our age, but yeah, I was like playing music from that, and what else? And mainly those like Ghibli and Spirited Away and Fruits Basket. So that's pretty much the beginning.
Well, so my first encounter. So
Oh no.
thing.
I'm gonna take a sip for this one.
For a period of time, I was very, like conservative, classically trained pianist. So I tend to ask my students nothing poppy, nothing, like I wanted to focus on classical music because that's where I felt they can learn something technically, musically, because I'm conservative, classically trained pianist, right? Until like one day, my student asked me, she said, I really want to play this piece. It's quite hard, but it's anime music. Is that okay? And I was like, when you say quite hard, okay, why don't you bring the music? Let's have a look at it. And she showed up with Unravel by and I was looking at this. I was like, what? This is anime music? What? This is hard. So I was like, okay, let's work on this. Good with me.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Well, I mean, now that it's out, now that the cat's out of the bag, can you play Unravel for us, Claire? No, I'm kidding.
Wait, what? Goodbye.
But how many students have you gotten that have asked you if they can learn Unravel?
A bunch.
A bunch?
A bunch.
Oh, yeah.
But not all like have the patience to finish learning it because hard. At some point they're like, oh, you know what? I realize this is beyond my level. Never mind.
I had one too.
Yeah.
But she only learned first.
Yeah, see, that's usually what I have. But I did have this one girl who was really patient and really wanted to do it. And she finished learning the whole thing and actually performed it in our student recital. And the other students were all just like talking about it afterward. They're like, oh my gosh, she played Unravel.
They were in on the
Memorized.
joke. Everyone knew it already. Oh, wow. Who would have thought your first exposure? Animens is Unravel.
I was like, wow, maybe this is like a new generation, like a new period of time. Anime music is not what I thought it was.
Yeah. It's evolved.
And well, one of the questions you showed us right before we started was about the anime piano community and how is their like production of videos and what they're releasing, how is that different from our students? And I really think it's inspiring for us to see all you guys are, well, first of all, the arranging part, that's very admirable. People who arrange their own music. And that's something most students don't even think about. Like it's just beyond anything that they've considered. So that's really admirable. And learning these arrangements and putting out these videos so regular. That's another thing. We're inspired by all you guys.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. My friends who were my friends who I would say the IRL friends, not the Road Discord friends. The friends who, have been around me since I started YouTube will know that, like, what was it? I sent I was the one who reached out to you guys first, right? Like, I don't know if people know this, but I reached out to you guys first, and I was literally being like, okay, I hope they'll respond, right? They seem like they're pretty responsive in their comment section. Maybe they'll say yes to like a collaboration because it would be super cool because I want to talk about four-hand piano, and I have no idea how to talk about four-hand piano. And then the next thing I know, like the next day, you guys responded, and I was like literally beside myself, like, oh my gosh, like what the hell?
You know why we responded the next day? Because when we got the mail, we were too excited. We could not write.
And that's why I waited one day too.
Oh my god! I saw it, and then he saw it, and because I was outside, so then we just like ran to each other, and we're just like, you know what email we just got? And then he's like, yeah, I saw it. Did you see? I was like, oh my god!
This is insane to me. Because I'm like, I feel like my pedigree is like nowhere near as like yours, and it's like, wow, it's just so interesting, right? How there's inspiration that you can draw from so many levels, and music is just something that you can always grow from, and things that you can always be inspired by, and things to learn more about. And it's so humbling, right? When you talk to somebody of your caliber, and you're still like, oh, these people who are all self-taught, they inspire me because they are able to do this, right? And that's different from something that I've seen before, which is, I don't know, it's such a cool thought. I need a moment to ruminate, right? I need a moment to like collect myself, and so that I'm not like screaming on stream. You're like, oh my god.
I think another thing is like being trained classically. It's really well. I guess you're not trained to have that open a mind, and just interacting with your community. It's really mind opening.
So sometimes, because the whole classical tradition, I think a lot of it is tradition. That's the thing, like how you were taught through this traditional skill, and therefore some things are to be asked to be kept traditional, and I think that contributed to part of this a little bit. One
thing that we always do in our concerts is talk between every piece. And
that's
growing
amazing.
up, there were a few pianists. I'm not sure if you know John Kimura Parker. He's Canadian, lives in Houston now, but every time he played with the symphony or gave a concert, he'd always talk and entertain the audience. So everyone felt so comfortable. And he's probably one of the most popular musicians, just because he's so personable. Like he but he was one of the few. Like most of the time you go to a concert hall, the conductor walks in, the performer walks in, sits down, and there's no interaction at all. So people feel kind of disconnected. So that's something we've been doing at even before we did live streams. Like we always stand up and talk to the audience, and we really feel like it's important. And we played in Taiwan in the big hall, and Claire was doing all the talking in Mandarin because I don't.
Because he doesn't speak Mandarin.
But yeah, the audience, a lot of the audience came to her after and said,
that was unusual. And they were
Yeah.
surprised when I started talking at the beginning and between pieces, and so that was very interesting.
So you young people, it's a good idea to actually learn from what,
Learn from
talk, and
that's crazy.
you give you give like a little outro sometimes in your videos, and even though you write a description, but just appearing, I think is really good. It's
Actually,
for other.
oh my gosh, I feel like, guys, there's too many directions to take these questions. I don't know, and I also want to be able to hit some of the questions that people asked. So I will indulge myself with one or two more because this is actually genuinely interesting to me. But one of the reasons why I talk, right, and why I believe in talking in between my pieces right now, since I'm doing it on stream, and I'm no longer I don't want to say constrained, because honestly my teacher was fantastic. I love her. Mrs. Golfson, if you were watching this, you're a great teacher. But like, now that I get to choose what I'm doing, I want to talk between my pieces, and I talk at the end of my videos because like with some background in contemporary music, right? So since I worked at a small music venue, watched all these like small bands that are up and coming, trying to make it and gig and stuff like that. One of the things that I noticed is that the bands that, or the groups that get the most human connection are the ones that end up doing better, right? Like all the grassroots movements, even the, I think, I'm not sure if you would have heard of this book, but it's like Everything You Need to Know About the Music Industry by an entertainment lawyer called named Donald Passman. Like he comes out with a book like every 5 years or so, and then it's like literally mandatory reading if you're like a new up and coming musician or a contemporary musician, right? Because classical world is a little bit different. So I guess my thought, right, is that or my question is, do you think that the classical world is going to have to catch up in that way? Because honestly, you know, you can take this question in any number of directions, right? I don't honestly quite know, like, how does one go from I'm in conservatory to like I'm now competing in like these high tier competitions to now I'm a full-time concert pianist, or like what other routes you can take to getting to I suppose what a lot of people want, which is the full-time, you know, I'm playing, performing, yada yada. So is like what's the traditional route, and do you see that changing and diverging into something different now with the rise of social media, with new like ways to do it, I suppose, with like contemporary music, and like I suppose, you know, I mean, even looking at people like Katine and Tiffany Poon, I no doubt like part of the reason why they're so popular and why they're like sought after now is because of their social media presence, right? So I don't know, I just kind of threw a lot of thoughts out there, but it's things that I've been thinking about and I've been kind of like speculating about, but without any real like, you know, valid opinion to back that up, since I don't know anyone from that sort of world.
For sure, yeah, things are changing so fast these days. So yeah.
Like, for example, back in our time, you sent cassette tapes.
I thought we weren't revealing your age. Come on, Claire.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, what are we talking about? MP3.
Yeah, cassette tapes. What are those?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, I think that still exists. Now you just send your users. But I mean, like the traditional routes. That's like the routes you pretty much. This is before internet. Yeah.
Which is a period of time I don't know about.
But I think,
yeah, I've never not had the internet.
Before internet.
Yeah, nowadays the way to go is you really just make your own career, and there's so many different possibilities that that's something very new.
So would you say that the, you know, like almost going to conservatory, right, is almost still following, I don't know, right, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like studying with a teacher, right, is still the, how to say, like the master apprentice sort of model, right, that's been like carried on for many years. So do you feel like that still is something that will have a place in the future, or is it like, for example, I've been reviewing a lot of the musicality conversations that I've had with people. I haven't quite gotten to yours yet, and this is a spoiler for everyone who doesn't know that I'm doing this project, but the next video that's coming out on Wadkeys might be a little bit late because there's a lot of editing to do, but we're talking about musicality, and it's interesting because I think I briefly mentioned this in our discussion too. The classical musicians, or the musicians with a classical background, care more about technique than the ones who are new, right? Like my friends who are now professional producers, mixing, mastering engineers, or like aspiring singer-songwriters don't care that, like, really at all, like how much technique goes into their musicality. They're just like, I want to make something that connects with people, and whatever gets me there, right? It's just, if it sounds good, it sounds good, right? Whereas in the classical world, you still have like this, I don't want to say like rich history as though that's like a constraint, but like I want to use rich history as like something that enables you, right, to explore new options, right? So how do you feel like that sort of thing is still going to be relevant, or still is relevant? Or do you feel like, you know, with the rise of internet culture, like 18-year-olds don't need to go to conservatory anymore if they want to be professional concert pianists? They can just make it on their own at home, and then there will be people who enjoy their playing regardless, right? Because they talk well or like are charismatic. More thoughts?
That's a very difficult question.
Yeah. One thing that came to mind though, that maybe not everyone is aware of, is the recordings from like 100 years ago. The technique was not a focus back then. Like if you listen to really old recordings, They maybe just do one take, and there'd be many wrong notes or even memory slips, but they just, that's what they released, and it was accepted back then. But then with the recording culture and editing and everything, that added so much pressure to the classical musicians. And the other part of the question about the necessity of going to music school, well,
I think it depends on what you're after.
Yeah.
So like, for example, the closest example, like in our musicality thing, I kept referring to music as a language. Like you can study this language on your own, but it depends on how deep, I guess, you want to take language, because some of these things you have to learn through someone passing it down. Like it doesn't tell you in textbooks, or like, so I guess in that sense it depends on what kind of experience you want to have.
Fascinating. Okay.
And one other thing is, most of us entering conservatories, we all have similar goals, but I think it's important to realize that goals can change, and if you didn't meet your goal, that's not a failure. And then, like us, we keep changing our paths. Like there's so many if you read our bios, you might think we had a normal path, but actually there's so many changes that happen that are totally unexpected, and we just go with it. You just have to
make your way.
Keep an open, stay positive, and go with the path. And or if you don't like the path, just make a new one.
Make a new one with the power of YouTube and the internet. Nowadays. But okay, now I'll tackle some of these questions now that I've sated my appetite for some of my weird questions about music industry things. But all right, this was one that we teased on the Discord server a few days ago, that you guys did not answer because you were saving it for the stream. But how did you two meet?
Oh.
hard pivot, but that's okay. Yes.
Do you want to hear the simple version or the embellished version?
We'll take both. Two perspectives.
Well, I met her. I moved to Vancouver 2010, and I was looking for work, so I wanted to do as much accompanying as I could. So a professor at the university had me accompany all the concertos from her studio. So it was like 10 concertos total, which I had to learn. And Clare was one of the competitors, so I played with her. But she was with somebody, and
that part is not important.
Oh, well. And then so that's how we met. Like that's how we first met each other. But then a couple of years later, I don't know if this game still exists, but Draw Something. It was an app.
It was on the iPhone
app.
App.
And it's like you just draw a picture. It's like you have a color palette and
you choose a word and you draw the picture of
the word. Is
no, but well, they give you 3 choices.
Oh, okay.
And then you choose one,
right.
and then you draw it.
So we just started playing that randomly.
And then the other person guesses.
Yeah, and then there was like a chat. This is very like primitive social media. There's like a chat button, and so we just started writing short 1-sentence messages, and then it became obsessive, and then it was pretty much from playing this game, and then we met up,
got to know each other,
and we got married.
The simple version, right? You play this game, meet up, and you got married.
Yo, how do I get on that train? Scott, teach me your ways. Is this why there's a dating advice channel in your Discord?
Oh yes.
Oh yes. Dating advice. Play game.
Gave all the advice.
All right, yeah. I suppose we should listen to Claire's side of the story before we draw any real conclusions.
Actually, that was not as simple as I thought. Usually when friends ask, it was much shorter than that. I think,
Dang.
yeah, he
Now I feel special. Now I feel special. All your friends will realize once they see the stream, wow, Scott really gypped us from some details.
yeah, so don't have much to
All right, Claire, your turn.
I don't have much to Well, I mean, I could go between meet up to get him married, I guess.
I mean, that seems like a big gap, right?
Well, you bought the
Actually,
ring.
we got engaged pretty soon. Like I think when you feel right, you know it. So it was probably like a couple months or something after we started dating, we were looking for rings already. Like
Wow.
we knew.
And well, one thing we didn't talk about is we had our past relationships too, and that's just part of life. If we were our first, who knows?
Yeah.
What?
what would happen? Your past experience.
But I just said something so romantic. We just popped the bubble.
But to be so sure, it helps to have experience.
Scott's a cynical, pragmatic man.
No, but it's true. I think every relationship you learn and grow from it. So into a different person, or not different person, but I think you become clearer of what you actually want. So some people are lucky; they know what they want from the very beginning. And I have friends whose relationships just work out, as their first relationship. But some people need to know who you're looking for. So yeah.
Interesting. So then, okay, wow. I don't want to treat this like an interview either, but like, oh my gosh, tell me more. No, I'm kidding. But like, okay, so but it's still interesting, right? Because I feel like it's a step from like we're two musicians getting married to like we're two musicians now. Let's perform together. Let's do forehand, which is something that's like less common, right? Like when did that become like an idea, and when did you guys start taking like forehand piano seriously?
We were invited to play, and there's
this venue organization that he used to play at with other or violinists, mainly violinists, right? Yeah. And then so when we got married, the organizer heard that I'm also a pianist, so she's like, "Oh, how about some forehands, like husband and wife duo kind of thing?" So back then, when we did our first few concerts, we didn't even have the name Meeks Duo.
Yeah.
We were just Clare and Scott.
Yeah, and then after that, this is another good piece of advice. I guess I don't know the percentage, but part of the concerts we send out requests. So it's not like we're asked. It's not like we're discovered. We have to speak up. So that's very important.
At the first few years.
Yeah,
so
but
this
anytime. Like,
first
General music advice: pay attention. If you want to get shows, you gotta send out emails and make connections.
Yeah. Don't wait.
Don't
wait to be noticed.
Yeah. So at first, like even our very first one, our very first one was about half year after we got married, and then for the first few years, we sent out a lot of things. We still do, but eventually, like the local places, they know about us, and then I think we started getting invitations, and that's when we thought we should probably be more serious and have a name.
Yeah. we like to do these theme concerts. Like I guess the first Christmas, so we'd prepare a program of all Christmas music. There's so much forehand music. Really. Yeah. And then we did Valentine's, and then I started arranging. That was my first time arranging. It was for Valentine's concert. I did a Stevie Wonder song, the one we used for our first dance.
At the wedding.
Special? Okay. Scott, you're so suave, dude. This is why we need the pragmatism. There we go. From Scott himself.
So people, now you know who to ask for dating.
Yes, don't join my server. Join the Meeks Duo server.
Both. You need both worlds.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But yeah, okay, so then how does doing local shows transition into we're doing an overseas like tour in Taiwan?
Well, so I was born in Taiwan, but then I came when I was young, and then I hadn't been back for pretty much the how many ever years I've been in Canada.
Ooh, secret. Okay.
Let's just say
A few.
quite a long time.
Yeah.
So,
a few years.
Anyway, so I've always wanted to go back to Taiwan to visit like the places that I have in my memory as as a child. And so I looked into, so I have friends who are Taiwanese and musicians in Taiwan. And so I've asked them for advice or help on how do you get to play in Taiwan. And so they've helped me. And then, so the thing is, my Chinese, like I can hold daily conversations, no problem. But when it comes to official documents, I'm like, I read the words, but I don't know what they mean.
Read the words, but don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
I feel like that's impressive in and of itself.
So then eventually I found this friend who played in Taiwan, like the National Concert Hall, and he introduced to us his agents. And so luckily they were willing to help us. So then they helped us file all these applications and everything. And we were actually approved. So we were like really, really excited. Because it's like the Carnegie Hall of Taiwan.
Right.
And yeah, it was like so Scott sleeps really early. That day, like I couldn't sleep for some reason. I mean, I often sleep late, but just that day was especially late. And then so I was checking my phone, and then I got the notification, like they gave us the official invitation, and he happened to wake up like magically because all happened. And so I was like, we're going to Taiwan. And then his eyes just were like, what?
Literally like the Discord emoji. Like the sparkle.
So he's like, what? And then, yeah, we're like, what? That felt really, really like, just not real.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. But
yeah,
we were supposed to go back in April, but then
April last year.
Yeah, we decided.
Or this year, this past April, we were supposed to play again at the hall, but we couldn't. Yeah, just with the pandemic.
Oof. Yeah. But wow, that's still pretty cool. Like getting again connections.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
Like we had to send our videos, so it's good to have like a good quality live recordings somewhere. And if you don't have live ones, just sometime book a nice concert hall with a good piano. And it costs money, but it's worth it because you'll have this recording.
Oh yeah, tips
like
if you
press kit.
send live recordings.
Yeah, send live and preferably in a hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, duly noted for myself too. No, okay.
Yeah. You should.
No.
But I think the last 2 years though, I think so much has been going on in people's living rooms. So. I think that's if you have good mics and a good piano at home, then that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the difference for you? Like, I suppose the difference between feeling like performing in front of a live audience, like in a hall, versus performing in your living room for a live stream.
Well, I don't think it felt that different, right?
Well, the thing is the audience. You mean with the audience, right?
With the audience versus.
Yeah,
No
with
audience.
audience in hall.
Oh yeah, big difference.
Mhm.
Because so when you're at a hall with audience there, you can feel the energy. and you can sense their response right away. Whereas when we stream from our living room, you have to go to the computer to see the comments.
No.
And then or if you don't do that, you have to just kind of tell yourself, they like it. They're excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can go both ways. So the vibe you're getting from the audience is helpful sometimes, or it could be, if they're not responsive, then it could like bring down your confidence. But then on the other hand, the streams, it kind of forces you to focus on the music and not get distracted.
Right.
So it can go both ways.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's a give and take.
Yeah. But the preparation process is pretty much the same. Like we practice ourselves first. Actually, we haven't really talked about forehands, but so we learn our parts individually. We might try to side read together sometimes at the beginning, but usually,
and then we
learn our
side
parts.
read and then kind of talk about the choreography, so that we don't bump into each other, decide whose hand is gonna go up, whose is gonna go down, and then we learn our parts. And ideally, when we learn our parts, we will listen or look at the other person's part, so we know what's going on in the other person's part. And then we rehearse.
Yeah, this is something important when you're playing with other people to know what the other instrument is doing. And pianists always have all the parts for some reason. So if you're playing a violin sonata, you'll see the violin part above, but the violinist doesn't. They only see their part, which doesn't make sense, because they should. Everyone should see all the parts. And I guess for convenience of page turns, but when they're learning a new piece, a violin, any solo instrument, they should see the other instrument's parts all the time. And then once you internalize it, then you can start reading from your own. But so for us, we always know what the other person is doing. We always do a recording, like a dress rehearsal before the actual concert. So that's really important, to record yourself and listen back. So many students are, they don't even record, but if they do record, they don't even listen. And this is pointless. You gotta record it. Well, recording, another thing is recording, when you're at home, you have no audience to play for, to practice getting nervous. The video camera functions as that. So you do get a bit nervous, even if it's just a camera watching. So
I get very nervous. So
you get very nervous. Did you actually play in front of anyone before recording?
So before I record, I usually get one of my friends who's a music major. She's going into music history, but she does a lot of Baroque chamber and stuff like that. And she has played piano throughout high school. So I'll play for her and get her opinion on it. But then it's like it's always like I don't know. There's always a sense of, at least for me, when I'm recording, when I'm actually recording, the mindset is always slightly different, right? Than if I were like live streaming or performing live. At least that I remember. Right? Because like recording. No, sorry, you got it.
No, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, for recording, I feel like it's like the first few times, or first, like, when I start, right, for a piece, I feel much more nervous than I do when I'm like performing or whatever, for whatever reason, like, live. And I think it's because when I'm recording, I feel much more pressure to play perfectly, because I know if I'm going to listen to it again, I'm going to notice when I don't play perfectly. Whereas like, when I play live, it's like, okay, I am relatively confident in my ability to swim through mistakes. Because that's something that I've always been good at, like not stopping even when I mess up. So I'm like, okay, worst case scenario, I've got all the spots that I need to jump to, right? If I absolutely have to stop, and we're okay with just keep going, and then afterwards it'll be okay, right? Like it'll be mostly fine. And I'll go listen back to it. I'll cringe when I get there, but like, it won't be like the end of the world. Whereas for recording, it's like, I don't know. I'm like, nah, I need to get it perfect. And then after nerves for the first few minutes, it's traded for frustration. Why can't I get it right? So. But
the process I was talking about was more for like a streamed concert or a live performance where you play a bunch of pieces back to back. But for recording sessions, good. Well, it's a good idea to do a draft recording and listen back to it before you do your actual session, because when you're playing, you can't really know what's coming out of the instrument.
It's good to hear a feedback of yourself, and then because sometimes even from just that you will want to make adjustments.
You don't realize you're changing tempo
or something may come out the way that's not what you expect.
And for us, the forehands, the balance is an issue because we don't know if one of our hands is too loud.
Right.
And so you just have to listen back to it.
Interesting. Yeah. Do you find the in general for playing forehand, is the process for a person who's playing the bass, or I guess secondo, and the person playing primo, is it is it very similar to when you're accompanying another instrument, or is there a difference, or perhaps even performing with orchestra, right? When you're the soloist.
Yeah, all of those things are different, I think, and even within forehand playing, often the secondo part takes over a melody, or the primo goes to the background. So there's a lot of variety in it. One thing though is the secondo always pedals, because they're in control of the harmonic changes.
Interesting. All three pedals are controlled by a secondo?
The middle is almost never used.
Fair.
Right.
But now that you have 4 feet, you might as well use all three, right?
Okay, well, let's
anyways, this is an interesting question asked by Winter. Maybe I should shout out the questions more, or who's asking them more when they show up in the doc. But that's okay. Since we're talking about performances, what was the worst public performance or concert fail that's happened to you or that you witnessed?
Well, we were talking about this because we saw the question, and we don't really have any stories for you, but our own experiences. But I had one with the violinist, and so. No, it's a funny story. It's not an ooh story. So,
I can never tell you, Scott. I'm already beginning to feel a little bit apprehensive.
So this venue, it's about 40-minute drive away from where we lived. So we had to leave. It was a 10:30 a.m. concert. This violinist was visiting from the States, so we had to go pick her up she was staying with a relative, I think, and we had to drive at 8:30 a.m. or something through rush hour. So it's always a stressful experience to get there. And then we arrived a bit early. They were chatting in the backstage. I guess I was warming up on the piano. And then,
I wasn't performing, so I was chatting.
She was turning.
The time of your life.
Then the violinist said, okay, I guess I better warm up. So she opens her case, and there's no music. And
this is 10 minutes before the concert.
And this is, so a violin and piano concert, usually, if you're playing a sonata, both people are using music. That's just expected. And so she was playing all sonatas, so she was supposed to have 3 big pieces, sheet music. And this is a 50-minute concert. So she tried to scramble to print the music because the backstage is an office. So luckily there was a printer there and a computer, but the printer happened to be running out of ink, so she could only print a few pages, and that's it. And it was starting. So, and a bit of backstory. Before this concert, I think we played at least 4 or 5 times more in the States. So we had played this program repeatedly. Okay. So luckily she was very comfortable with the music already. I think the first piece she actually did memorize. I don't remember the order. One of them she succeeded in memorizing it.
Yeah, she just played with lots of passion and energy.
And then between the pieces, then she said, okay, I think I should tell you, the audience, that I forgot my music. So I'm going to be looking over Scott's shoulder sometimes. And then the last piece too, she memorized most of it.
But she barely did, only a little bit. She looked over
Scott's
shoulder. Mostly, and she just memorized.
And if she forgot something, she just made stuff up. And this is another important lesson for all of us. You have to be able to improvise. You can't in a performance. You can't just stop and.
This is where theory is very important.
But you need guts too. You just have to. I think it helps if you know the theoretical, like say the you can hear
harmonies, chord progressions when you make things. You will have confidence to make things up.
Yeah.
Huh. So how do you practice that sort of improvisation? Because I feel like practicing learning how to improv is like one thing. Is different from just like learning to rote music theory even, right? Like how does one develop the feel for that sort of improv? Or wow, I didn't think that we were gonna circle all the way back. Or why do you think classical musicians, or even like classical students in particular, like don't write their own music, don't improv, or don't like don't write their own cadenzas or like play their own cadenzas and stuff like that, even where you would expect something more improvisational in nature?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, what was the question?
Like, why don't students
how to improv, and why don't people improv, or why don't classical musicians in particular, or students in particular, improv?
I think for me a big part of it was my own teacher was very open-minded. Like she herself would write arrangements, and so I played a Bach concerto, I think when I was 12 or 13, and I heard a recording, and at this fermata, the performer improvised a little cadenza. So I asked her, can I make my own? So I think if I didn't have that type of teacher who would encourage that, then I might not have the same attitude. And the experience, and it just builds on that. After you do it one time, then you know you can do it. So then you write a longer cadenza next time. Yeah.
Interesting.
Studying jazz too. Not how to play jazz, but just like chord structure, harmonies, jazz harmonies. That's very helpful.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I frequently wonder for myself why I never improved, and now I'm in the spot of one being like, okay, I gotta learn and practice, So
just take practice.
Yeah, it seems like. I mean, just like anything else musical, that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
So, interesting. All right, let's go through some of these questions and see what else is an interesting ask. Now that we've asked about, wow, I still can't believe it. Improv, but still, like knowing a piece. Oh, actually, I had a question that was unrelated to anything else written here, but I want to ask because you brought up the memory thing. Do you think pianists should, or this is purely opinion, right? Because I understand that there's probably debate on this, but do you think pianists should still be held to the standard of having to memorize their entire programs? Or should like sheets be okay? Well,
I do think memorizing looks better and it feels better when you're playing, but I don't think it should be required. And everyone's comfort level is different. And for students too, like I'd rather they give their best and have a good experience performing at the exam with music, if that's what makes a better performance than memorizing but not being comfortable and then having a bad experience, and then that's sticking with them forever. So I think using music, there shouldn't be stigma against it.
Interesting. Yeah.
And we in our duo concerts we use music, and it's kind of, in classical music, when you're playing chamber music, like anytime you're playing with other musicians, you're expected to use music.
Right.
A lot of duos do memorize, but it's just not expected in the same way that it is for solo. And these days, a lot of solo pianists are using music. Even when we were growing up, sometimes you'd go to a symphony concert and they'd use the music either because it was something that was written recently and they just didn't have enough time to absorb it, but they still gave a great performance, or I don't know. Yeah, people are busy and sometimes there's just not enough time.
Yeah. No, this is actually one of the discussion points that my piano teacher and I guess her family and I had when I visited her recently. She just brought up, because one of her old students is a touring concert pianist, and she found it surprising that with the advent of tablets, and devices that allow you to switch pages. That pianists can now hide the tablet within the cover, like opening here, and like the audience still thinks that they're memorizing, but like they can play looking at sheets. And she was like all for it, right? So I was surprised at first by that, right? Like 80-some-year-old, like really, based on the way, you know, I guess the audience knows how I play and think about things, but like, you know, I was like, whoa, she's totally for this like whole music thing. It was like surprising, like the discussion that ensued. It was like, oh my gosh, like, oh, going back to Busoni, this is so stupid. Why are we doing this still? But we gotta do it. It's like, okay, I see how it is. But anyways, I guess we can ask some more questions that people are asking instead of just indulging myself. Oh, so Noelle asks, what is the recommended amount of time to practice every day?
I think it depends on how awake you are. Hey.
How much you're thinking about what your dinner is, right, Claire?
Yeah, it depends. It depends what the purpose of the practice is. Yeah, I don't know.
Because like sometimes if I'm really exhausted, when I try to practice, it gets worse. And I'm sure at some point you would have the experience of you're just working on something that you thought you're good at, and then it just gets worse as you're playing. That means your brain is probably tired. Yeah. So I think the amount of time really depends. But then if it's good quality, say if you're feeling really well and good quality practicing, I would say maximum maybe like 3-4 hours.
Yeah, my undergrad teacher would say to the studio, to call yourself a piano major, you must practice 4 hours. That was like the standard. So that's a good number. But that's for like really like learning recital programs and big concert repertoire. So it really depends. We can't really answer. There's no magic.
That was like a program, not so.
It depends what's going on in your life and
right. I feel like I get this question a lot because people want the like how like, you know, beginners or people just starting off are like how like what's a good number to shoot for, or like how do I show a decent amount of commitment so that I know over time I'll improve, right? I feel like that's where the question comes from frequently.
I forgot. Yeah, like depending on the difficulty of the piece too.
But and then everyone's learning style is different. It's not good to apply a formula to everyone. Everyone's like us. We were going to talk about this in our interview, but we never got a chance. Our practicing style is different. Very. So but then just what matters is how it comes together in the end. Right. So people shouldn't try to copy each other's.
What you should do is try to, from your practicing, try to figure out what works the best for you. Yeah, everyone thinks and works differently, so you want to figure that.
Yes,
as some of the people in the chat are saying, 36 hours is too short. We need 40 hours a day.
There is such a thing as too much. My philosophy for practicing is, if you just have to play it right every time, and if you stop playing it correctly, then that's time to take a break or time to stop for the day. Practicing, you're playing it right, correctly, repeatedly. It's as simple as that. And if you're making mistakes, that's not practicing. If you can't, I don't think you can try something. You have to just do it right. And if it's too hard to do it, do one hand, do one bar, do just one beat. Anything is possible. But if you're playing a whole page of music with 100 mistakes, it's really not productive at all. And then if you repeat the same page and have 100 new mistakes, that's what people do though.
That's like the mindless practice, right? Like I feel like, I know I certainly was guilty.
It's not even practice. It's not even practice. I tell sometimes, this is a new saying I say to my students, but it's like you're practicing getting bad. You're getting good at playing badly by doing that.
Right. It's like the perfect practice makes perfect sort of mentality. Right.
But then what you need to, so when you're practicing, it should be like that, I think. But then when you get to a performance, you have to switch gears and you have to just let go of all that restraint. So you have to realize it's never perfect.
Hmm.
So in your practicing, you can make it as perfect as you can, but then in a performance, it's never going to be perfect.
Hmm.
And you just you go with that.
I feel like I have two questions from that. Wow, I'm so self-indulgent. Sorry, chat. But this is my channel. This is my stream. I get to ask the questions I want.
I'm so tempted to look at the chat on my phone.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good if I keep looking down.
Basically, the chat is basically just telling us how great Ling Ling is right now for practicing 40 hours a day. Ling Ling's just 40 times better than the rest of us, 10 times better than the rest of us, basically. So, no, but all right. So actually, I think one of my questions. So this was a question that I asked my violin teacher when I was in 8th grade. I played violin in 8th grade, and one of the reasons why I stopped was because it got too difficult, because I understood what being good at violin meant because of that teacher, right? Fantastic teacher. Nothing against her. It's just... Anyways, but the question I asked her was, how well should I know a piece before I perform it? Right? And I suppose I asked this question for, like, best case scenario, right? Because sometimes you have to rush out repertoire, rush out whatever, right? So, like, if ideally for you, how well do you know a piece before you go and perform it?
I think you have to perform to know how well you know it.
Like,
throwing the curveball at me, Claire. I like it.
Doing a mock performance, like for a casual performance, that's even like I was talking about video camera. If you're by yourself, just play for your video and watch it, or if
play for friends.
Yeah, now you can just do a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And ask them to listen for 5 minutes.
That's why, like, for example, before my students do their recitals or whatever, I always ask them play for as many people. Like in the last 10 days, you have to at least 1 or 2 people a day you have to play for, because that's when because things probably most likely won't go wrong in your practicing because you're comfortable. You feel like you know it, and muscle memory is there, even if you tune out, right? But then with a pair of eyes or 2 pairs of eyes, things change.
Oh yeah.
And that's when you will realize there are spots where you're not confident or, a little weaker, and those are the times to fix those. And you have to, because the funny thing is your brain will trick you into thinking, oh, this only happened once. Kind of thing. So no. In those 10, whatever happens, you have to sort it out. Otherwise, in performance, your brain's gonna be like, "Oh, remember that time when you messed this up?"
You have no idea how many times that's happened to me, because I was like, "Yeah, that was just one time. That was just this month when at our performance practice thing. I won't worry about it next month. Next month it comes back again. Finally go to a competition, it comes back again. I'm like, why didn't I fix this?"
Yeah.
That's very true.
One great thing about the music school environment is the practice rooms are all next to each other. So everyone's working at the same time, and you can so easily just go next door and ask your classmate, can you listen to me for 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Yeah. Even a full recital, like some classmates are willing to listen to your 1 hour program and follow the music, give you tips or suggestions, or even if they don't, just having them listen is so helpful for you as the performer. Yeah, because you will know, even if you make through something, but you will know where you hesitated or had doubts. Those, even if it was fine that run through, you have to look at them. Yeah, I always say it's good to make the mistakes. You should be making mistakes. Because, when you play run throughs. Yeah, because then when you're practicing, that's what you focus on. So much of practicing is mindless, like, because we don't know where we're gonna make mistakes, so we just play without thinking. But if you make those mistakes, you're gonna focus on that part, and then the more practice performances you do, the more mistakes you'll have to fix, and that's a good thing.
Yes, indeed. So again, I guess then the next question that I was going to ask, or the second question that maybe is not a direct corollary from how well do you need to know a piece before, or how well you want to know a piece before you perform it, is how do you then go and perform in such a way that you're able to, I don't want to say take risks, but like, step out of that like idea of I need to play perfectly as you describe for like practicing.
Well, it's hard to answer, and and from our experience, if we play something, we might have thought it went really well, but then when we revisited the same piece like a few months later, it's so much easier, and it just goes together. Like we can put it together in a day and then play it, and it's even better than we thought than the first one. So your perception is always changing, and definitely repeat performances help.
Yeah, and I think also it's the environment. So a lot of kids, they say they perform, and then if the parents or like friends are not supportive, they go, I heard your mistake. How did you play a mistake? Or, if the emphasis is on the negative of that performance, it makes it much harder for the performer to step out of that as you grow. So I think a lot of it is from like the beginning. You need to have supports and therefore building some confidence. Of course, not to the point where it's delusional.
Actually, I was just...
I'm Meek.
Your Lie in April wasn't that... We only saw Your Lie in April once. So the details are not clear, but the boy, wasn't his mother very critical?
Something like...
Yes,
there was
his mother.
Critical,
right,
yeah.
So that really caused trauma.
Right,
and
that's why I tell my students' parents, I'm like busy messaging everybody like right after concert, do not say anything negative. Always encouraging, leave the negative to me, because students will listen to teachers, but then when it's your mother talking, then they get like defensive.
Right. Yeah. So then how do you as a teacher like approach this like post-concert sort of I suppose situation? I suppose we had a demonstration of that already on this channel with my video. But like, what are you looking for, and how do you coach a student through that, right? Because it's very true that I think, as even we talked about within the video, we should focus on the positive, especially in performing and like the things that we did well. But there's also very real things that need to be addressed, like mistakes that happen, right? And like, how do we talk through those things without becoming like overly critical? I guess it's like a general like life thing, right? Like, how do you find that this sort of like giving out criticism in a helpful way works out in piano, I suppose?
Yeah, it depends on the student too. Like some students, they just don't listen. So even if you say something positive or negative, it's, I don't know, doesn't get through. Like there, like sometimes you repeat. They just didn't put the effort in to actually fix. So then when it goes wrong, what can you say?
Yes, sometimes if they're not interested, it's hard to do anything really. So it has to come from the students.
It depends. When you're addressing like post-performance, it really depends on the student. But always try to be positive.
Yeah, I try to tell my students, especially that they're young, because when I was young, whatever concert I did, I think there's always this perfection expectation.
Right. And
then you feel a little bit intimidated to experiment with things on stages, because you want nothing but it to go perfectly. Right. So I feel like then because when you're young, if you fail, people don't think of it as a fail. They think it's normal because you're little, you're a student, you're learning, right? So there's nothing. But when you're a professional, or like when you get to a certain level, then people look at you differently. So what I try to tell my students is treat every recital, every performance as an experiment, because you have to use this opportunity to find out how the preparation was working out for you. Maybe in your preparation, you need to adjust some things. Try, let's say, memory is one thing, playing accuracy, being expressive, that kind of things. Use every opportunity you get to experiment with how you prepare yourself. And sometimes it could be overwhelming. Then focus on just one thing at a time. Say if this concert, you try something with the method, how you memorize, and you succeeded, then that's great. Feel good about it. Don't focus on the other stuff, but focus on one thing at a time. Because it is it is very difficult to play piano and to play in front of people. Yeah. So, and I would hope that this can bring them the comfort to step outside of, like these expectations to be perfect and be afraid to try things. Yeah.
Interesting. So I suppose then this opens the door for a question about like competing, right? I suppose like at different levels of competition, right? How do I say, like accuracy is like more or less important, right? Because I feel like when you have little kids, sometimes like some kids just don't play the right notes at all and whatever. But like, once you get up there, I suppose what how do I say, and perhaps you would have a more educated opinion than I do, since right, I think Scott, you've done some adjudication before for competitions, and stuff like that. So what I've always feel like I've got the vibe from like piano competitions, especially at the top level, is very, very subjective. What people want is like perfection, the exact perfection that we're talking about that we don't want to harp on, and perfection, technicality, so like speed, and then it comes down to subjectivity, right? Of the I suppose like the person who's listening, right? And I guess the thing that people like citing is like Martha Argerich walking out on that like one competition, Chopin competition, like years and years ago, because one of the contestants she thought was fantastic and nobody else thought he was good, and so she was like, what is this, and walked out. So like what actually happens in the mind of a judge, at least in your experience, right? What are judges actually looking for? And like, is like, okay, I guess I could ask the question, is perfection really that important, right? But so you could feel free to answer that as well. But like, how much is like, how do you, how do I say? I feel like there's so many ways that I can like qualify the question, and it will like alter the response. But I guess I'll just like float that out there for now, right? Like, how does judging actually look for you? I guess in particular, since I guess other people do things differently, and it might get more political. Yes. Okay. Scott.
It's really, it's really.
How do I win the next competition that you're judging at?
So, well, the first part that makes it difficult to answer is that even technique, people have different standards. People listen differently. Some people can hear the tiniest wrong note or missed note if a chord is missing one note or one note's too quiet. Some people can't. Some people can hear that. Some people can't. So, and if the person who can't hear it, they'll think it's perfect. And so everyone's idea of perfect is different. Everyone's idea of technical level is different. So it's so complicated, and I can't really answer because it's just too complicated. But well, okay. I'll say one thing is, the person has to communicate. The person you want to win the competition has to communicate to you. So it's not just about accuracy and speed, but to make it complicated, that people communicate differently to different people. So what moves one person can leave the other person cold, and so
also depends on who you're competing with.
Yeah.
Right, like if everyone's playing the same set piece, and
but even then, people have different interpretations. I mean, the listeners have different ideas of how it should sound. So even like the most fair way, having everyone play the same piece, even that is subjective. And
interesting. So then how much so I suppose, right, there's always going to be like the prestige and merit of winning a competition, but how much merit do you think is appropriate for winning a competition on like I suppose various levels? So you could say like locally, regionally, all the way up to internationally.
It's a big part of it, like we were talking about at the beginning, was being able to make your own career. So even if you win something, things don't necessarily happen by themselves. It depends. Like if it's the biggest competition, a tour is booked for you for like a year or two. But then after that, well, unless you have agents helping you, you do have to keep following up. So it is different nowadays. And there's just so many big competitions. There's so many of them. So yeah, I lost my train of thought.
All good. That just means that we get to hard pivot into a different question, or let Claire answer.
Yeah.
What was the question? What?
All right, hard pivot it is. Hard pivot it is. All right, here's an interesting question. Oh, I think we can combine two questions here. First is by Sean H. What was something unique that you learned and remember from your teachers in the past? And then one by Shane Fernandez. Any advice that your teachers that was given by your teachers that didn't exactly turn out to be helpful?
What was the first one?
So basically it was like what was something unique that was helpful from your past teachers, and what was something that was not helpful?
Oh, there's just too many. Well, not
no.
Not too many. No. I mean the first part of the question. Too many. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about it because we saw this question too earlier, and there isn't really any. Like
I think it's perspective.
Yeah, it depends how you can take any advice and look at it negatively if you want. It's a choice. So I guess we just chose to, if something was against what we believed, we just chose to either reinterpret it or just not let it affect us. So yeah, I can't answer that second part now. But
I mean, any advice you take and you try to work on, it helps you to shape you into the pianist that you are. So I think maybe later you'll learn something that's contradicting to what you heard before, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it wasn't helpful. It's just, you evolve through
Taubman methodology versus everything that you were taught traditionally. No, I'm kidding.
Just learn everything.
Yeah, relearn everything.
But thinking back for me, my childhood teacher, she really let me be independent. So that carried over into all my college years. Like it would be most of the time me choosing the repertoire. Like I'd control what goes on. I'd say, okay, I'm gonna learn this and this, and that came from my upbringing. My teacher was letting me take challenges and choose my own pieces. So for me, that was a really positive thing because I keep saying opened my mind, and I think that's really true.
And that's why you let your students play Animenses Unravel now. So we see how that pays off. How that pays off many years later. Or I should say a few years later. Sorry, don't want to expose the age.
Years.
All right. Oh, yeah. What? These are two questions that I think are also interconnected. But there's first the question of when you feel unmotivated or you feel stuck. From Shane Fernandez again. How do you move beyond that or move through that? And then I guess on the extreme end, Sohan Shah asks, did you ever consider quitting piano, or have you had another hobby that you were serious about alongside with the piano?
You go.
So no, I never thought about quitting. And the unmotivated part, well, I don't really experience that, but the only time I don't want to practice is from tiredness, or just sometimes you want to, after you finish doing something, you might want a day or two break, but then I'd always want to go back. Like I didn't have that issue. Yeah, I'm just lucky.
Okay, Scott, you're different from the rest of us. Okay, I see how it is now. He's a special cookie.
He is. He was telling me about his childhood. He was like this perfect child. He's like well behaved, and then like did everything he was supposed to. Perfect child.
Perfect husband too, hopefully.
Yes.
Yes. There we go. But how about you, Claire? How about you? How do you work through the lack of motivation? If I suppose if you're a little bit more normal like the rest of us, do you have like a motivation every once in a while?
I may be a special cookie too. No.
Okay.
No, but quitting, I never thought about. Well, I shouldn't say never. Apparently, when I was a kid, I did because my teacher was harsh from time to time. So my parents, I wanted to quit, but that's when you're young and you couldn't take all the disciplining. Life was really tough.
Yeah.
But then beyond that point, no, I never thought about quitting. I think we all at least for us, we went into this field with a very deep rooted passion. So I don't think you can easily say, oh, this is because we grew up with this. This is like part of our lives now. So no, I never thought about quitting, even when life was tough. In my master's years, there were some pretty tough times because my teacher was very, very strict. But I really appreciated it because there were things that I was really best at during those years because of strictness. But even though it was quite tough at the time, I never thought about quitting. Now moving on to the unmotivated part.
Okay, does Claire come back to earth okay?
A little bit. Once in a while, like when you practice your program over and over and trying to polish it, finally finishing something, some project, recitals or whatsoever, you do need a break, right?
Yeah.
But I was watching Long's interview. He was saying that after he finished recording for an album, he's just like, if I touch another piano key, I'm just literally gonna physically throw up. Even Long has moments like that. Right? You need a break. So
but I think break and unmotivated is two different
things.
Right,
I think that's different. So
I think it's hard to, if you're unmotivated, it's hard to find, I don't know, just look for outside inspiration, really. Read books, talk to people.
Or take a little break. Or something,
Go into any piano instead of classical piano?
Yes, try out any something.
But
check out Waukee, server.
Check out Waukee's. Maybe that's the actual solution.
Very inspiring.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Hopefully. No, but
yeah.
I guess here's an interesting question or a sentiment that I've heard, at least even in the any piano community, repeated a few times. It's like, I'd rather keep my hobbies and passions, right? I'm sure you've probably heard either students say this before or someone regarding any number of other things, right? It's like the moment you turn something that you care about into a profession, then it becomes the fear is that it becomes a grind, right? It becomes a chore to do it because now it's the thing that's paying the bills. Now it's the thing that is that you're kind of dependent on, right? And no longer is it this fun escape or fun pursuit that you can take part in, right? So have you found that to be true in your experience? And if it's ever been the case, do you how have you worked through that, or how have you still continued seeking inspiration or cultivating your passion for the craft?
When I was younger, I did consider, so that was the period of time when I was debating if I should do music. And the funny thing is, when people ask me, so what would be the reason why you wouldn't go into music? And that's exactly what I said. I don't want to turn it into a profession where I might start hating it or something. But then up till now, there were so many moments when I felt like I'm so happy I chose this way because how good would it be to do something that you love and then you make money from it? So I felt so happy that I ended up this way. No, because it's not correct. I ended up choosing music because I could be doing something that I actually really truly enjoy and have my life depend on it. So
Yeah.
There are times when there is such a thing as being overworked, and then you have to learn your limit. You have to,
are you saying this to me right now? Hello?
yeah, like you have to know how to say no. You have to know how to quit something. But quitting is not a bad thing. You just have to know when something reaches too much. It's sometimes better just to leave it rather than pulling through, but damaging your health and your, like if you're doing too many things, everything suffers.
Right.
The quality suffers. So that is one thing to be careful about.
That's one of the things I got a little more chill about after meeting him, because like I'm somebody who, if I set a goal, if I actually decide that I'm gonna do this, I don't quit.
You're pulling all-nighters to practice, Claire? Okay.
Just like work towards it. And
then, I've never done an all-nighter in my life.
Yeah.
You guys are, I've said this before, but literally the dichotomy of man. Oh my gosh. This is too good. This is too good. But that's okay. That's
this
okay.
happens a lot. Sometimes I'll be talking, he'll remember something and start talking, and then he'll be like, "What were you saying?" I'm like, no, I don't know.
Right?
Where am I?
Where am I? How did I end up here? Yeah. All right, time for another hard pivot then. Time for another hard pivot. All right, this is from Blambo, very own Blambo, or Mad Piano Life. I happened to see your concert performances as well as amazing performances by your students. Yes, your students are amazing. I've been on your website, Claire. They play very well. They scare me. They intimidate me. Okay.
I'll tell them that and make them work hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we like that? That's not making them work harder. That's making me work harder. Okay, Claire. So.
Well, they'll be like, "What? This celebrity thinks I'm good?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Don't let him down." Exactly. Don't let him down. To watch.
Okay, no, actually, the girl who played the Haydn in D, that really brought me back, and I really appreciated that. So you can tell her that. But we as YouTubers, in a realistic sense, pale in, I suppose, in talent and skills to your experiences. So, okay. Nonetheless, is there anything about performances that you enjoy or find elements that can't be seen elsewhere?
Wait, performances?
So any pianists, I suppose. The
yeah.
Like, is there something about the soft part performance that you find special? That you
for
can't
sure.
find elsewhere?
We kind of talked about this earlier, right? Mm-hmm. That we get inspired by any pianists who play their own arrangements
and then play Unravel, and then more Unravel. No, I'm kidding.
Really. And just doing it like so consistently. That's and it's I'm sure it's all voluntary. Like it's not like someone is telling them to do something. Whereas
it's the passion that they're communicating, and that comes through the music.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's different from people. A lot of students we teach.
Should we go there?
Well, like the whole focus pass this exam. Right. And that's it. Once they're done, then it's done. So then it's like they're not choosing to do it. They're either that's just what people do, or that's what they want them to do. So yeah, it is very different, and we that's why we feel like it's such a great community to interact with, and we're learning a lot too. Oh yeah.
Do you teach?
To be fair for students, some of my students, they do have the passion.
Yes.
Not all are pushed to do exams.
Yeah. Wait, so do you teach in like standardized grading curriculum?
Yeah, it's part of the environment. Like in Canada, there's this RCM, Royal Conservatory System.
Oh, so it's like I guess the States has the ABRSM or something?
Yeah, it's like that.
Similar,
it goes to level 11 or diploma level. But there's this obsession with that here. And that's just what people do. So it's like going to school. It's just everyone has to go to school. It's just and
yeah, sometimes you hear parents comparing, or even kids among themselves. They're like, oh, I'm playing this grade of music and stuff. And I often tell my students, you see, Mozart didn't choose RCM grade 10 pieces to play, you know, like if it's music, he plays the music for the sake of playing this piece of music. It's not because it's grade 10.
He somehow knew hundreds of years later that somebody would be like, this is going to be grade 10. I want to play this one.
Right.
I'm going to write this one right now.
Right.
Yeah. I honestly, to me, the whole grading system is actually one of the things about, I suppose, that the standard classical music student has experience with that I don't, because my teacher never did that. So I've never compared myself on like, oh, I'm grade 10 or grade 8, I suppose the ABRSM goes up to, or whatever, to like other students. It's just like, I'm playing a piece. It feels harder than the one I played before. I guess I'll work on it a little bit more. So.
Right.
Yeah, but how did, no.
Sorry. No, I think playing pieces, it's like problem solving. So whatever problems you run into, that's when you're actually learning something, whether it's music, technically, things like that, right? So
Scott's infamous, I don't do warm-ups, I don't play hand-in, I've never done technique in my life, I learn it all from playing pieces. Okay, yeah, I see where it's from. Well, don't tell that to my audience, because I tell them to play hand-in every once in a while, so no.
Hand-in is great! You must! That's like the Bible.
Well, 12 keys. Sit down, right? Isn't that what it says in the front cover? Like, if you master these, you can play all of them in 60 minutes. Like,
you know, I think I've heard someone actually did that in 60 minutes. I heard about this concert from like one of the faculties from one of the places, that I went to, the school I went to. One of the faculty actually did that. Through the whole book of hand.
That's a little bit scary.
A little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, how do you? So I suppose we come from different worlds, right? Like, or I shouldn't say we come from different worlds, but the any piano world and the the classical student that you're typically teaching, or some of them that you get, right? Because some of as I'm sure like most people can attest to, who were in a classical background and started playing when they were kids, it's something that your parents put you up to, right? Like you don't want to play piano. You're just like, why can't I play like sports with the other kids, and why am I inside practicing? At least that's what I asked when I was a kid, and my mom would have to tell me why I'm practicing a lot on weekends and not playing with the other kids or something like that. So, but I like it now, right? Because I'm good now. But like I didn't understand that then, right? So how do you cultivate like a passion for like the music itself within a student, right? Especially when you're getting students that are like, I want to like achieve this certain thing, right? Put it on my resume, perhaps, right? Because they're thinking about college, I'm presuming, right? And then like say this is one of my achievements, move on, right? Is not like there's no like higher pursuit, right? Essentially, how do you try to at least instill some of that within them, so that later down the line they can be like, okay, I see what Scott was telling me, I see what Claire was telling me,
This is hard. Well, first of all, I
asked the hard questions. Yes.
Oh, yes. So hard. Well, first, it's the kids themselves, how they were brought up. I think a lot of it has to do with how the parenting is with the kids, so that they want goals and challenges for themselves. Because that's an important thing. Some kids, they enjoy life so much they don't want challenges, then it's hard to bring it out of them. Because playing piano, it gets harder, it doesn't get any easier, things like that. So I think if they're like with that already, then it's easier to explain to them why this would benefit them, and then they have a higher chance of accepting it. So I think a lot of it is the kids themselves.
Interesting, yeah. Fascinating. Getting people to appreciate art. That's tough.
But,
I guess. No, you got it.
I don't want to be negative, but
oh no.
When it comes to sports, if a kid is not good at a sport, or like doesn't like it at all, you don't see parents pushing them to do something that they don't like. So, but with piano, it's so common that kid shows obvious disdain for music or practicing, and but they're still forced. So I'm not sure why that doesn't happen with sports, and it does happen with.
I feel like
does it not happen
maybe to like a lesser degree.
I don't know.
Lesser
From
degree.
our experience.
So, like a lesser degree with sports, because I definitely do know that I had several friends who were like pretty hard pushed to do like swim team and stuff like that throughout school, right?
Okay.
But it certainly feels less, right? It's a less common story than with, oh, I grew up, I played piano all the way through high school and I hated it, right? Like that's something that you hear all the time.
Yeah. So,
or even, you know,
I don't know.
name any instrument. So.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. And, that's something that.
That's an interesting question as well. I don't know. I feel like I have to think about that. I feel like, you know, maybe piano feels like a bigger investment for the parent up front, perhaps, right? Because you have to buy an instrument. Like, but I feel like with sports, you could say you buy gear as well. But depending on the sport, the amount of gear that you purchase might not be that much, right? If you show up for soccer, with a kid buying a pair of cleats, that's not, or I should say football, since I have an international audience and I'm not just in the States. But like you buy a pair of cleats and that's not as much compared to like buying potentially like a vertical, right? Something like that. I don't know. But anyways. More for me to ruminate on later. All right, time to pick another question and see where we're going. Let's do this one. How would you guys go about choosing a piano teacher when you're at the ARCT level? I don't know what
Canadian,
ARCT means. Okay.
Diploma level.
Okay. Never mind. Okay. Well, I guess we just talked about that. So no, I'm kidding. But I guess the question got a little bit more specific. Any recommendations for teachers in Vancouver?
Us.
Yeah. I was gonna say like hello.
Hello.
Whoever asked this question, come on, really? Well, I guess that question's answered. Moving on.
Even now, like
we do virtually anywhere in the world works too.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm competing with you guys too. No, I'm kidding.
Possibilities.
But actually, that might be a good question in general, right? What should you be looking for in a piano teacher? Or perhaps we could start with like, since you guys, I presume, still like study with teachers occasionally, or
occasionally,
occasionally. What do you guys look for, right, at your level? What do you feel like someone who's, you know, coming out of high school, who's been playing their whole life should be looking for, or someone who's like new, right, and wants to get into piano? What should they be looking for, if there's a difference at all, right?
It's too complicated.
I think it depends on what you're looking for.
Basically, just start with the Meeks. I think that's the that's the solution. If you don't like the Meeks, then you can start with me. Okay.
Everyone's personalities are
Thanks,
so
you're
different.
so nice.
What was I supposed to say? Start with me first when I'm the inferior teacher? Like, come on. No, I'm kidding. Oh man, but
you can learn different things from different people, and I don't know.
I think no, I was serious. It depends on what you're looking for. Like, so okay, I'll give an example. So like the teachers we studied with, they give us information, or at least I should speak for myself. They give me information that I feel like maybe it was missing in my early childhood training. So then there's some
Taubman. I see you, Claire. You can't lie to me.
Something like, what?
She doesn't even know what Taubman is.
Never mind. I feel like everything that we talked about, Claire, that everything that you pointed out was like, rotate your wrist more, let your hand fall into. I'm like, I've watched like 3 videos on Taubman methodology, and everything you're saying is right up their alley. So I just assume.
Well, so it depends on what you're looking for.
Okay.
Like, so and well, one thing I could suggest is you want to try a few teachers, make sure the chemistry is right.
Mm.
Because sometimes even if you go to like the top teachers, let's say, the chemistry may not work. So then it might end up being like a little bit of a difficult working relationship. So I think the chemistry is really important. And only when the chemistry is right, you feel like you want to listen to what your teacher is telling you. So that's really important.
Interesting. So I guess let's make this question specific for any piano to see if it yields perhaps a more direct result rather than just it depends what you're looking for. So for an anime pianist who wants to play Animen's Unravel and just picked up the piano last week, what should they be looking for in a teacher?
Hello, my name is Clare. This is Scott.
yes. This is what we're looking for. This is the quality content that the people came here for.
And there is Caleb.
Yes, there's me as well. Hello, I am Watt. I'm Watt Keys. I teach every once in a while.
Wait. You mean someone who just started playing a week ago?
Yeah.
And wait, what was the question though?
Just started playing and I want to play Animen's Unravel. And
what do you tell them?
Yes. What do you tell them? But two, like, what do you or who do you who should that person be looking for in a what should that person be looking for in a teacher?
Well, someone who's willing to just work at it bit by bit. Even if you have to have short-term goals. So even if you jump to that where it starts to get difficult on the first page, anybody can place their hand on that octave and then move their hand to the next octave. And you can teach anybody to practice that movement in one hand, and then you can teach them which notes, like really anything's possible. And you need a teacher who's willing to be patient, and the student themselves has to be disciplined enough that they can work through something one little bit at a time.
Patience.
Yeah.
Discipline.
All right.
Yeah. It's totally fine. Totally fine to practice one bar.
Yes.
For a week.
Actually, yeah, I think. Oh, Simply Piano Review feat the Meeks Duo Wen. Okay, I see you, Winter. But no, actually, I there was one person who just wanted one lesson with me, and what we did was work through a theme of like some song for like one note at a time, and got through 2 bars. And he was like, "Okay, I'm good. Now I know how to work the rest of the song." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So, yes, but okay. Here's perhaps a better question, right? That's a little bit more applicable to more people in the community. Is as a self-taught pianist, like how do you improve? Right? Like what should you be thinking about in order to improve, and what should I almost want to say what advices should you be listening to as well, because there's a whole bevy of thoughts out there like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, right? But like basically, if you had to, if someone came up to you is like, I'm a self-taught pianist, I'm not in a position to get a teacher right now, but I want to get better. What should I be doing to get better at piano?
Well, yeah, developing the ear is very, very important.
Yes, vindication. I say that all the time. Okay. Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah. And then, yeah, you gotta listen to good playing, and you have to, and then you have to be listening to yourself. It's just like self-awareness. Some people, they're a certain way and they just don't realize it.
Right.
So it takes a certain self-awareness to be good at something, to improve, to realize your faults and then to be able to improve them. So it depends on the person. There's no magic answer.
Right.
But well, I guess those things, patience and discipline and developing the ear, those are all, I guess, among the most important things.
Right. It looks like Claire is assenting, so we will continue onwards.
Wait, what?
It looks like you agree. So,
Yes.
All right, let's pick another question. Oh, this is an interesting. I feel like there's so many good questions. They range from technical to not technical, but here we go. And of course, Winter wants to know about people more than anything. Anyways, how do you deal with the feeling of there's always someone better? Especially in a career where everyone is sort of fighting for the same opportunities. Asked by Yuan, I think. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's like I feel like the question is almost like encapsulated in like there's a set number of like, I don't know, like shows that are like held every year maybe, and you're all competing for the same things. Like,
right.
Like, how do you deal with there's always someone better? Especially you know, these days when you go on YouTube, you can always find someone better.
I think I don't know. I remember going to competitions and I'd have this attitude. I would be the odd one who would go to listen to people before I played, and like that
would psych me out so much.
For me, if I hear someone who is, I feel is like a different level, like much better, and for me that would motivate me. So it really, there is always going to be someone better. That's just unavoidable, and so you just have to take it. You have to take it in a way that it's positive for you. You have to turn it around. Don't think of it as discouragement, but instead motivation. So that's the simple answer. There will always be someone better, and you just accept it and learn from it.
I like that. I like that a lot. I'm waiting for Claire to contribute. I agree. Okay, moving on. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting question as well. From Karun Samuel. Can you guys improvise jazz easily? And I suppose if you can, did it come naturally? Or how long would it take for a classical pianist to pick up jazz? I feel like everyone wants to play.
No, just kidding. I don't know.
It's like harmony. So for me, like I can read lead sheets easily. I'm always interested in like extended chords and voice leading, those kind of things. But actually improvising jazz, like playing chords in the left hand and playing soloing, I couldn't do it. I've tried, but I think it just takes practice. If you do it every day, I'm sure it becomes easier. But yeah, chords, I'm comfortable with chords, but not actually playing jazz.
Interesting. Okay, so never. I like that answer. Now there's no pressure on me to learn how to do that. Okay, here's a nice one, but from Roger Ross. Who's your favorite composer, and what's your favorite anime?
The favorite composer we get asked often. Yeah, it
I feel like this is one of like the pianist 101 like bio question, right?
Yeah,
like, favorite composer.
Yeah, looking at our repertoire list and like our solo repertoire list, and it tends to be narrowed down to the Romantic period and like early 20th century. There's always, it goes all the way like from 1600s all the way to 21st. 21st, yeah.
But then I think we appreciate the composers for their styles, so it's hard to. Yeah, there's really like you can't say a favorite. Yeah, because everyone is different.
We can list a bunch that we like.
Okay, that works.
Well,
too.
It's difficult. Yeah.
Okay, weasel out of it, Scott. Okay, smooth as ever. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I love Russian composers. Rachmaninoff, Scriabin, Medtner, Prokofiev. Those are my favorites of the Russians. Liszt, Chopin. I like Liszt a lot.
Liszt is a Libra, by the way. Liszt was born in October.
Real quick. Liszt is a Libra, guys.
Beethoven, Mozart. Yeah, those are some. Schubert.
No box.
For me?
Okay, Claire. Claire's just gonna say I agree.
No. Well, see, the thing is, okay, so I'm a Libra, and then I truly appreciate the composers, whoever I come across, right? So I feel it's unfair to say, you know, I like this person better than the other, because I mean, they're all special. So I really can, like all the above plus all the composers I've played.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's fair. No, I feel like, you know, like, I don't know. I forget. Have I seen this from multiple people? I know at the very least, right, for myself and for some people like Tiffany Poon on YouTube, like they feel like a very strong connection to like one composer specifically, right? Like for Tiffany Poon, she loves her Schumann, right? For me, I love my Beethoven, right? And so it's like, I don't know. I guess to each their own. Maybe you guys are a little bit more diverse than I am in taste. That's all it means. Anyways, okay, next.
Favorite anime?
Oh yes, favorite anime. I almost forgot. We're only talking about music. We almost forgot about the important stuff.
Again, there's so many. We don't have like one.
Okay, time to list all of them again, Scott. Okay.
Yeah, like. But yeah, actually, we watched everything together. Like, well, I guess I watched some in my childhood before I knew it. But recent, like the past year or two. 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
We've watched a complete series together. The two that we watched twice in a row were Attack on Titan, up to I think it was like last year. So before the most recent, we finished it all the way to the end, and then we were so blown away by the twists and everything, and so we wanted to go back, and we knew like how much foreshadowing there was. It's really, really well done storytelling. Like it's among the best. So yeah, we went all the way from the beginning. And another one we did that was, do you know My Love Story? Ore Monogatari.
Monogatari?
The guy with the fat lips. No, it's nothing to do with the series.
Oh.
It's like a standalone series.
I think.
And it's this really tall guy with fat lips.
Yes. I've seen it, but I haven't watched it. Like I've seen the
Okay.
and
Yeah,
I've seen it come up.
We loved it. It's totally opposite of Attack on Titan. Like
Right.
it's fluffy, but I don't know, something about it. The tone. It's so positive and so funny, and yeah, really, like there are minor conflicts, but they're so the outlook on life is just so positive and lighthearted. The humor was, yeah, we just connected with that one. So we watched it twice in a row. Your Lie in April, of course, very, very powerful.
Oh, I'm not gonna say when, sometime when I was younger. I loved Notame Cantabulate. It's fun.
And we watched that recently.
Oh yeah, we watched it recently. Actually last year when the schools were closed, the lockdown. That's when I watched it with my students again. Hey, you guys have no school, watch anime.
Yeah, for anybody studying piano, I think that's a great anime to watch all the way through. Like especially for classical music student, it's really aimed towards classical music students because they follow these characters through a music school, like a music university.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
I have not seen that one yet.
Yeah, it's definitely worth.
Yeah.
And the Forest of Piano, it goes through an entire international Chopin competition. It's all animated, and some of the animation's amazing. Like they animate piano playing, and you can actually see the keys going down, and it's accurate.
They're accurate.
They must be like modeling it after a real video. So we watched the whole 2 seasons of Forest of Piano. What was another music one was about koto playing. Stop the Sound, I think is the English, and nobody has seen it that we've talked to. Brandon and Hayashi. So,
yes.
Yeah, but
it is
so
your hidden gem. Okay.
They said nobody else has seen it either. Yeah, those are some of the ones we like.
Interesting. Okay, I see you. I've seen like 2 of them, so no, I have much to catch up on.
You're too busy.
So many.
Look, stop, Claire. Okay, we don't need to go there right now.
Sleep is important.
yes, I will. But why sleep when I should be watching more anime so I can catch up? You know. All right. Let's see. What else?
Are we getting dark on the screen? Should I turn
No,
on
you're totally fine.
Okay.
Am I still fine? I'm still like washed out on your camera. But I think on this one, I still look fine. Chat, am I looking fine? Are we looking fine? I hope we are. I'm just gonna keep moving. Wow, we've been at it for 2 hours.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah. Whoa.
We can chat.
Yes, we can chat forever. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is working out a little bit too well. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. We'll give it like, let's say another half an hour, because then I can actually sleep and
Yes.
do things. All right. Oh. Yeah, that's I feel like we answered that question. A lot of athletes like gymnasts use mind repertoire to focus their thoughts while they perform. What do you guys think about its use in piano? Derek Wang.
Well, because when you're using music, it's a different mindset. When you memorize, there's a lot more concentration that has to go on. But really, if you can focus on the music and what you're trying to say, and not worry about things, and even if something goes wrong, being able to just get back on track right away and just acknowledge you made a mistake, but then just keep playing and realize you have a lot more good things to say. So yeah, I don't know. It's impossible to really stay in the zone all the time. Everyone will get distracted, either from outside things or just your mind wanders. It's normal. And you just have to accept it and know how to get back on track and know how to accept mistakes if they happen.
So then how do you practice? Oh, sorry. I forgot to
Right.
give room
I was
for Claire.
just
No, I was like, okay, Claire, agree, disagree? Okay, agree, okay, we're moving on. I just assumed that time. I'm sorry.
I was gonna actually, you were gonna ask the question. I was gonna answer anyway.
Yeah, I was asking like, how do you practice for something like that then? Or like, especially for me, I remember distinctly, and I think we talked about this very briefly, I think when we did one of our review videos, I forget. But I talked about how like, it's been a while since I performed, so I don't know when my concentration is going to dip when I play a whole program. So when I played the recital, and after I played to the beginning, and I was feeling on fire, it was a surprise to me that for the nocturne, my mind was just completely gone. Right? So how do you practice for things like that? Because as we talked about earlier, right, these sorts of mistakes and these sorts of spots are like almost like recurring, right? And these are the sorts of things that happen when you play your program a whole bunch, you play for other people. So what does the practicing process actually look like in order to help, I don't want to say remedy the situation, because I think that it might still be a little bit inevitable that once you hit that point in time, you're just like kind of like tapped out, right? But like, how do you practice in such a way so that you're able to carry through that more confidently?
Just
experience helps. Yeah. And also the preparation, like the way you practice. Like a lot of people think you just keep running through beginning to end. And they don't know how to start from the middle of the piece, and so that's when it'll become problematic if you actually happen to have a slip kind of thing.
Thorough practice, being able to play your left hand alone, memorize like the whole, well, not necessarily the whole piece, but just section by section, being able to start anywhere. Yeah. Because if you lose your memory somewhere on the second last page, you don't want to go all the way back to the beginning. So, and you don't even want to go back to the beginning of the page. You should be able to just start where you forgot. Those kind of things. If you practice thoroughly, then those things are less likely to happen. So it's just a whole attitude. Like it's just your daily life attitude. If you think that way, like always improving and never getting frustrated, then on the stage in a performance, you can get through it much more easily. So it's just like life training, not just for piano, but just, yeah.
Interesting. All right, that's a good response. Positive mentality. I think that's the theme of this conversation.
Yes.
Everything is just like, I expect a much more practical. No, I don't want to say practical answer. I'm expecting like a boots on the ground, like A, B, and C. Scott gives me, but instead be positive.
But see, everyone is different, and everyone remembers.
No.
Just stay positive.
Yes, stay positive. Stay positive. You hear that? You heard?
But, I mean, what drew us to you was your positivity, like, and so.
Oh shoot! How do I handle this flattery? No, I'm kidding. All right, moving on because I can't take this.
So positive.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's interesting, right? Because the whole like classical. I don't want to say the classical mindset, right? Because I don't think that it's indicative of everyone. But the classical stereotype is always, snobbery, always like, there's a proper way to do this. There's like an orthodox way to do this. If you don't do it this way that everyone else does, or like there's traditional, then you're doing it wrong and you're playing it wrong, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, right? And so it's I don't know. It's such a, I always feel like it's a line to tread, maybe, or like it's something to think about, like how does musicality develop within the context of like tradition, but also within the context of yourself, because that's also very important. So I don't know, maybe that's where I get some of the positivity from. But who knows, this is not an interview for me. Maybe that'll come another day. All right. I already answered this question, or asked this question. I don't answer these questions. You guys answer these questions. Oh, this is an interesting one. Also from Derek Wang. Derek Wang, lighting up the chat, I see. How does four-hand piano compare versus two piano duets? So to my knowledge, there's not too much repertoire for either. Like aside from the four-hand that you play, but like two pianos, I feel like the only one that I've really listened to is the Mozart Sonata in D for two pianos. So yeah, I forget.
Actually, no, there is quite a lot.
Okay,
and
never mind then. I don't listen to music apparently. No, okay.
If you like Rachmaninoff, he wrote two suites, and I think some other music too. But the two suites are just great, especially second suite. It's just from the first listen, I think all four movements are so exciting, and the melodies are so memorable, and everything about those pieces is great, I think. Great to introduce someone to classical music. Just listen to Rachmaninoff suites. Second suite for two pianos, I think, is one of his best. Yeah, there's quite a lot. And what we heard is that in North America, two pianos is actually more common than four hands. Four hands, one piano. I guess something about the visual spectacle of, because the grand pianos are always facing each other.
Right.
And so pianists it's just more of a show, I guess. But we heard that in Europe, the four hands is more common. And maybe this a long time ago, the people we heard this from, maybe it's equal today. Not sure. But we haven't really done two piano. We played like concertos where
for fun,
like soloist plus orchestra, but we haven't played the music written for two pianos, mainly because our pianos are in different areas. So.
Wait, do concertos, when someone's playing the accompaniment, do they end up being side by side, or do they still end up being across?
Usually, usually those are side by side.
Okay.
And duo two pianos, then they're usually facing each other.
Okay. Yeah.
It's something to do with equality. Like concerto, you have the front piano, that's the soloist,
right?
The back piano. But with duo, you want them equal. So they're both facing. Well, they're the side of their face.
It still feels kind of weird because the sound is like going one way.
Yeah, I know. Well, they remove
the lid.
They remove the lids.
True.
Because otherwise, your sound is going to the back of the stage.
Yes.
Maybe you should turn on
Yeah.
that.
Are we getting? Ta-da!
Oh wow, light. Yes. They're back. All right. Okay. Let's ask this question then from Winter again. Winter wants to know about all your worst experiences. That's one of my mods, but not to throw shade on anyone specific, but could you describe the worst student you've taught and what made them the worst? Perhaps we should make it least enjoyable student to teach rather than the worst.
Yes, whoever is not interested. My biggest thing is if a student wants to join my studio, number one thing is they have to want to be here. The interest is really important. So I guess whatever, like, I think that's the basis of everything. So if a student is just not interested, then there's really no good experience from that, right? Oh yeah, there.
And yeah, like it's related to attitude too. If they have bad attitude all the time,
like questioning you.
They show you that they
yeah.
Again, positive attitude. Positive attitude strikes again.
But I don't know. There's no like single worst experience.
Yeah.
We've kicked people out.
Ooh. Wait, let's hear some of these stories. No,
okay, pour some wine. You know.
Yes. I'll go grab a drink real quick. I'll be back. This is the after party right here. Oh man, but
no. When we say kick people out, we politely, with respect.
Yes.
Them how we think the chemistry doesn't work, and maybe they will
find another teacher.
Benefit better with a different teacher. Yeah.
Right. The usual. I don't want to work with a troublesome client. That's what I do too with some people. With music production. I think you would do much better with someone else.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, but sometimes it's true. Like sometimes someone's really difficult with you, but then they find another teacher. And
and then they become interested. So it's the chemistry.
Yeah, it's out of our control.
Yeah. Nobody's fault.
Yeah.
Yes, true. Oh, this is an interesting thing that I've discussed once with my friend. So he was one of the kids who, forced to play the violin, all through middle school, all through like to the beginning of high school, and that's when his parents allowed him to stop. Versus his younger brother who's playing piano now, who's like 11 or so, and he's good. He's one, very good at it and very talented, and two, like enjoys it somewhat, I think, at the very least, right? He tells me that his younger brother unironically tunes into my streams, so I gotta assume that if he's watching my streams every once in a while, then he's gotta, at least enjoy some piano content a little bit more than Minecraft at the moment, right? And so, but one of the things that we talked about is like, teachers need to set a level of expectation, right? Because it does feel like the teacher needs to expect something from the student, right? In order for the student to then, okay, I need to rise up to the challenge and meet it. But at the same time, if the teacher is too forceful with that, then you get I suppose this is with the student who's like more in the gray area than one who's like, oh, I showed up and I hated it, right? I never wanted to do this from the start. But it's like, especially for a kid, right? For kids don't want to do anything aside from play. So it's like, I just threw out a bunch of words and I lost my train of thought. Okay, but coming back to the question, it's like teachers need to set a certain expectation for students, especially young students, but they also need to be encouraging and nurturing in a different sort of way in order to get that student to one day, as we kind of talked about earlier, come to appreciate the art for the art itself, right? Or to appreciate, whatever playing piano should mean for that person. So how do you balance both this level of like expectation and being strict, but also, I guess, whatever the other side is? I honestly don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it like parental side or like more nurturing or caring side, but like I don't know.
I think give them outside experiences. So and one issue that's very common is when students study music theory, they usually study with a separate teacher, and all the things they learn, they never apply to their actual music, their piano playing, and but being able to assimilate things. So when teaching piano, introducing students to other types of music or making them go to concerts or going to concerts with them. Those are all important things to broaden their education.
So learn music theory and have a positive attitude. I like that. That's the answer.
Yeah, be curious about things.
Be curious. Yes. Oh, encourage curiosity. There we go. I like that.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh yes, this Q&A is going very well. Two peas in a pod until they're not.
I'm
Okay,
glad.
I see how it is. Do we have any more questions? Wow, I feel like we got through quite a bit, and some of these I feel like we already
Cool.
touched on. Oh, this was one for you personally, I presume. Dang, Derek Wang really do be lighting up the chat. Do you pre-write your cadenzas or do you improv it most of the time? I suppose this question is for both in general and for yourself.
Wait, who's self?
Or yourselves, I should say. Do you pre-write your cadenzas or do you improv your cadenzas?
Pre-written.
Okay.
Yeah, I never actually tried. Oh, actually,
You
there.
improv?
No, not a cadenza, but there's at least I know one piece I played where the composer says to keep playing a bass line and then improvise the right hand for like I don't think she set a number of bars, but it was like 20 seconds maybe. So when I did that, I did actually improvise on stage. Like it was never the same. I wrote like a lead in and I had ideas, but every time I played it, it would be different. And so yeah, that's my one experience, I think. But cadenzas to a concerto, I prepared ahead of time.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I still find it such a. I still remember as a kid when my teacher told me, the first time it's like, it was actually the first concerto that I played, the Haydn Concerto in D. It was like, oh, this is the cadenza. This used to be improvised, and I was like, what? I'm gonna improvise? And she's like, nope. Here's a cadenza that's written for you, right? Actually, she wrote the cadenza for me, so it was very kind of her.
Oh, nice.
And it was kind of special too. And also confused the heck out of whoever. I think I had a master class with someone. He was looking in the book and he's like, this cadenza is not written here. What is this kid playing? Anyways. But it's like, yeah, it's just it's a fascinating thought, right? The cadenza almost feels like it's supposed to be spontaneous, right? Like playing off the themes, but yet most I would say, right, that I listen to play the same cadenzas, right? For example, like Beethoven's Third, they all play Beethoven's cadenza. Right?
Yeah,
it's written.
When it comes to Beethoven, I think specifically he started writing out his own cadenzas, where before him, composers sometimes did, but usually not. So that's why you see, like Haydn. Well, I think he did write one or two, but the fact that he wrote one or two already gives you choice. So
right.
Yeah, Beethoven's Third, I think, but some composers did write cadenzas to Beethoven too. It's just not as common,
Right.
and it's just not as common.
But yeah, it feels a little bit weird to me. Not weird because in playing, but like weird in thinking about it because you're like, it's like premeditated spontaneity.
Yeah.
You want it to sound spontaneous, but you also don't actually make it spontaneous. So then you have to work it in a way that it sounds spontaneous.
Yeah,
Through practice.
Like real improv where it's completely free, that just has a totally different type of sound. But jazz, like a jazz ensemble, there's order to their improvising because they have to line up. They have to like match the chords. So even though it's improvised and maybe they've never played it in that way, there's still an order to it.
Right. There's still like inherent structure.
Right. So a classical cadenza is the same. Like you need to know where you're going to end. You need to know which themes you're going to quote and develop. So yeah, there's some planning that needs to go in there.
I like that. All right. Let's try two more questions. What is a common piece of advice that you disagree with? This one's from Sohan Shah.
common piece of advice for piano playing?
Yeah, for piano playing that you.
We need some examples because we can't think of any.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
like,
if they're still here, they can type some examples. We can go.
Yes, let's put some examples in chat, guys. What's a common advice that you guys hear a lot from YouTubers like me, I guess? I'll throw myself under the bus. Or from other people that say you should do while playing the piano. We'll see if chat is responsive. Chat seems a little bit lethargic because I think people are just listening in the background, but that's okay. And we can move on. Mods, let me know what the responses are, and we'll come back to this question. If there are responses, hopefully. All right. So how do you... Oh, this one's from Sean H. How do you select your next pieces? And what is your arranging process like?
Okay, well, if it's concert season, we have concerts booked, then, like I was saying, we like to have a theme to our concerts. So we did a couple online concerts in the past few months. Like, first one was Jewish composers. So a few weeks ahead of time, we found as many pieces by Jewish composers and learned them. Some of them we played already. And then after that, we did a program that was summer. So it's like summer music. That's when I arranged the Joe Hisaishi Summer. It was for that. And then we played some other pieces that had summer. We have another one coming up that will be all my arrangements. So that'll be kind of varied themes, but it's all stuff that I did myself. So yeah, it really depends on the time. And then at the beginning of our weekly uploads, we were excited to record these pieces that weren't played before, so like premiering stuff. When we were doing live streams, it was all for themes. Like we had a water theme, for example, so we found pieces all. So it really depends. Yeah, what we're preparing for, and we just go week by week. Yeah, there's no clear answer. For what was the other part? Arranging?
Yeah. What was your arranging process kind of like?
Process. Well, I guess the first ones I did, I like the Stevie Wonder. I just looked at a lead sheet, the chords and the melody, and I just did something. I guess like in the tradition of classical like list transcription, just adding stuff, like filling in the texture, making it really difficult. Yeah, the first arrangements were. So yeah, I think we're gonna record that. We're gonna release that one soon. But yeah,
okay.
I just because it was the first, it was like an experiment. So I made it a little too difficult. And then after that, like for the anime ones or like film stuff, I'd listen with headphones and usually at a slower speed. And I try to catch everything, like every bass note, every drum, every piano lick. And I just try to put as much as I can into the forehand texture. So I wasn't really creative. I just like listen really carefully and try to get as much as I can. I wasn't really adding much. Sometimes I'd add a counter melody because a lot of this music, there's exact repetitions, and right. Like people like variety, especially as a arranger or composer. You don't want to just do the same thing twice. So then I might add something to those parts. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Some pieces are simple. If it's classical, I'll refer to my birthday arrangements, I'd refer to the full score, orchestra score, refer to the piano part, and then just base it on that. I wouldn't do it based on listening because that's more like creation. Yeah, it depends what I'm arranging.
Interesting. Do you have perfect pitch?
I have piano pitch.
I like that.
So I can hear notes on the piano and be pretty accurate, but if it's like a sound, like something squeaking or even other instruments, I can't identify the notes. So
all right.
yeah.
Well, Now nobody has an excuse in the chat anymore. All you people without perfect pitch can't complain about your lack of perfect pitch anymore. All right, let's see if we've got any responses. No, that was interesting. I suppose when we do a future Watson and performance video of one of your arrangements and stuff like that, we can perhaps go into the arrangement process a little bit more.
Yeah.
And talk about it there, because then we'll have an actual tactile example to look at. So.
And one more thing is that after I think I finished something, then we have to try it. And so I always write them by myself at the keyboard. And so sometimes I'll like this to make sure that it's actually playable, or make sure that one hand can go under, because sometimes things are physically impossible in forehand arrangements. So I'm trying to be really careful to make it as playable as possible. But then we try it, and there's always going to be something that doesn't work, or doesn't sound as good, or Claire has some suggestions to make for her part. So
that's the face. I always have suggestions. Many of them.
So it's never. There's always things you might want to change, and that was happened in the classical history too. Like composers, when you look at their manuscripts, there's so many changes they made up to the last minute. And if they were living today and they looked at their music, they'd probably make more changes.
Right.
Actually, there were a couple of recordings that we were doing, like one as we were recording, and we changed stuff
on the spot.
On the spot, or it's like maybe this better this way or something. Yeah, so then we just made changes, and then he would go back to the music and then change it. Yeah.
Wow. All right, Claire, tell Scott what's up. What needs to be better?
Well, just to clarify, I don't change his arrangement. I suggest that would be easier for me.
Yeah, very often I'll come visit her at the piano and she'll glare at me.
Like, who wrote this?
Yeah.
Why is it so difficult?
And then I'll say, "Oh, I'll change it," but then she'll say, "No, I've already practiced it." So
Well, see,
it's too late.
when I start something, I don't quit.
Yeah, I'm all about changing,
Right.
simplifying. Like, I don't care if I practice 10 hours. I'll learn it the easier way. So.
No, this is hard, but don't change it. I'll power through it.
Yeah, I agree with Claire. Come on, like, you know, it's part of the beauty. It's part of the art, you know. That's why when Halcyon on my practice stream was like, "Oh, you can simplify the left hand," I'm like, "I'm not simplifying that left hand. I'm playing it as you wrote."
But then think about it. The composer themselves can change it just like that. So why do you feel like you must play it that way?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah,
But
exactly.
What if the arranger wrote it that way originally, and then they changed their mind to make it harder, but wouldn't going back to the original be better?
See, that's why I got a little more chill now, because, you know, under his influence, sometimes I might be like, okay, maybe it is good enough. But then, like, you know,
is there any pull in the other direction?
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, does Claire pull you into the more like gung-ho direction as well?
No.
No?
It's all one way.
Like, yeah, just give it up. Just change it.
Yeah. This whole time Claire's just mellowing out and Scott's just like, yes. This is why Scott is in charge of the dating channel. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But anyways. What would be a good I forgot. Common suggestions or advice do you hear from YouTubers? We got 3. Playing 30 minutes a day regularly is enough to learn the piano. Ling Ling would like to know your location, from Roger Ross. Something on the spectrum of play what you want to do hand in all, only in all keys ever, from Pure Water. And also making all the fingers equally strong for better technique. So I guess that's 4 things. 30 minutes a day, play what you want, only play hand in, ever, and then make all your fingers equally strong?
Going backwards, the finger equal thing, it's impossible. And you have to realize that all fingers have their own character. It's really unnatural and impossible to make the ring finger as strong as the thumb. It's impossible. So you have to just accept that and not do excessive exercises. And even like fingerings, I went through a period where I wanted to use my ring finger as much as I could because I knew it was weak. So I'd mark fourth finger in the scores. And then eventually I decided, well, if I can use 3 and 3 sounds better, then why not just use 3? So it is
simplifying.
So yeah, that's a good one.
Here's the thing. For me, I will work until my finger gets it. I won't change it.
Claire's committed.
So yeah, I think that's advice that shouldn't be given. Canon, sometimes I have a student who brings Canon, and then if I teach it, I'll always say, like, well, to develop creativity, never just play them as written. Like, do it in 2-note slurs or groups of 4, doing shaping, do it on the black keys. Just
transpose.
It can be very good for teaching creativity.
And also just the fact that your fingers are adjusted to, like, you know how like white keys are different height than black keys. So develop control. I think after all these, it's all in the end what you want is control. So you are exercising all the fingers, but they will, no matter how much you do, they will never be equal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're never gonna run on your arms as fast as you could on your legs. It's just impossible. You could try, you could train, but wouldn't happen.
Claire's like, I beg to differ. Watch me, Scott. One day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I forgot the other question.
Play what you want, and playing 30 minutes a day regularly is enough. Well, I feel like the 30 minutes a day one we've already answered.
It depends on the piece and the person. To play what you want. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Why not?
Animals Unravel. Oh, Simply Piano helps you learn. That was another one, I guess.
We don't know enough about Simply Piano. I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it either. But that's a video coming out soon, or maybe in a month or 2. I don't know. It's whenever I can convince my friend to download it for real. So, someone who doesn't know how to play piano, and we're gonna work through it. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyways, wow, we got through most of the questions.
Cool.
Well, I would say we got through all the questions. The ones that aren't crossed off, I asked her were answered implicitly elsewhere. So I guess I will ask. Do I want to ask more questions? I'll ask a question. Have you ever played a different instrument? And if you haven't, what instrument would you like to play?
Yes, I have. You hear the sound of that?
Oh, shoot.
So everybody, if you've ever wanted to play piano and don't know what to do, staying at home, pick up piano. So that's what I did. But I mean, so I was thinking I wanted to know better the Asian music side. So I actually bought a guzheng, which is like this Chinese
it's the board
instrument thing. Let me see if I can show the instrument. Whoa.
House reveal. Let's go.
House reveal. There's my coffee machine. Okay.
Let's go.
Do you see?
Oh, I forgot. I almost forgot to ask the most important question. Somebody said in the first email that they're a coffee snob, and I'm wondering what's the
Scott
recipe?
is totally.
Oh, this.
Can you see the instrument?
Yes, I can. Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah. So I bought that, and I started trying to learn that, and it hasn't gone anywhere yet.
Yeah. And I suppose my follow-up question, right, is like, if you've learned a different instrument or if you've done something different in music, do you feel like that's impacted the way that you play the piano or hear the piano?
I'm not sure. It's hard to say, right? I think a lot of it is personality. So whatever, you experience is what your personality too. So then therefore you're shaped the way, like it's kind of both ways.
But
how you perceive things too.
Yeah, but I think you don't even have to play another instrument. I think just being aware of how other instruments work really can affect your playing of your own instrument. So thinking of wind instruments, did we talk about this in our like wind instruments and string instruments, they're in constant motion. Like airflow has to keep moving if you're playing a wind instrument, otherwise the sound stops. And same with a bow, if you stop, the sound stops. So a pianist, I think, can learn from that when they're playing melody, to have that idea like they're doing something in a breath or in like a one bow, and it changes the way you play instead of just playing one finger at a time like this, which is totally not how a melody should be thought of, right?
Right.
So you don't necessarily, I don't play any string instrument, but I've worked with them enough. I just know the way they move is always continuous. So not necessary to play other instruments.
Interesting. So actually, this is now another selfish question, Scott, that's more directly related to my current circumstance. So I have played chamber music all of one time in my entire life.
Oh.
With a trio. It was a Beethoven trio. I don't even remember what it was because we played it for 2 weeks and then we stopped. So this summer, a project that I'm doing is playing Beethoven's ninth violin sonata, the Kreutzer, with a friend.
Oh wow!
Yes. So what should I be aware of that's different from playing like solo piano to accompanying someone on a piece like the Kreutzer?
Okay, well, the first thing is study the violin part and in relation to the piano part, and well, learn your part first. Are you playing the whole thing?
We're just playing the first movement.
Oh, okay.
Neither of us have time to learn all the variations and stuff too.
And you've started it, or you finished learning?
Yes, we've actually. I think I've got it up to like 80 beats on the half note or whatever. Okay. And we've rehearsed like slowly through like once or twice already. So,
good. And watch out for the part in the middle with all the thirds. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
When yes, practice that a lot, and practice it in many different ways, because that's really dangerous. And then I don't know if you've ever tried this, but play with recordings. So even though you're going to hear the piano part overlapping with your own, it's really helpful. And wear headphones just so it's because it's distracting, but it teaches you to concentrate better. So if you have this music playing and you're trying to play at the same time, it really makes you more focused. And if you make the mistakes, like I was saying before, it's good to make the mistakes, because that's where you have a lapse of concentration. So, if you're under tempo, just use the YouTube feature where you can
slow it down. Yes. Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, it's like even just playing twice, right, or rehearsing like 2 weeks in a row, before our summers got like really starting getting busy. It was like it feels completely different, like I'm not just listening to what I'm doing. Like also I have to pay attention to not only what she's playing, but also like the cues that she wants to give, right? Since she's a soloist. Like, how she's phrasing this part. Like, does she want to like bring this part out as much as I do? And it's like, wow, there's like so much more to think about.
Make sure there's always discussion. These violin and piano sonatas, the title is actually Sonata for Piano and Violin in Beethoven's time. I think Schumann started to reverse it. He'd call them Sonata for Violin and Piano. But the piano part is so important. So make sure you speak up if there's something you disagree with or you want to...
Oh, don't worry. I'm very vocal.
Okay. No, but
Clare and I vibe.
It should be a collaboration. And And when you practice yourself too, practice looking to the right. Like that's where they'll be standing, right? And yeah, as you play, just imagine they're there at those moments where you have to come in together. Just practice doing that.
Interesting. Solid. I will definitely be ruminating on that.
All right.
Look at the Kreisner. But anyways,
will we get to hear it?
Yeah.
Yes, hopefully. I mean, it's kind of dependent because so she's the friend that I actually play most of my stuff for. So she's also a music major, and she does a lot of stuff over the summer with like string camps and stuff like that. So and she's I forget what she's doing. She's either doing a 5-year master's or like applying to grad school or something. So we'll see how busy we both end up being and when we can record.
Was that in Your Lie in April?
Yes, it was the first piece that Kosei the guy sees the girl play Kari.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And he's like, "That's not Beethoven." Like,
oh yeah. Oh, wait, and didn't Two-Set Violin
yes.
analyze?
Yes.
Okay,
no,
yeah,
they did the recreation in the practice room.
They also did like an analysis of it.
Yes,
like,
I think so too. Yeah, but Eddie is all in the wig and stuff like that, and they're playing.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Cool.
But I suppose we can wrap it up. I'm having a good time, but you know, it's been almost 3 hours now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. I've been asking questions all night, I suppose, and I suppose the chat's been asking questions all night too. Do I want to close with one question posed to me, or do I just want to close? Chat, what should I do?
Wait, do you have a question that you want us to ask?
I don't have a question. Oh, you can ask whatever you want. All right, yeah, here we go. Each of you gets one question. Oh,
Are you gonna go to?
Wait, what'd you say?
Are you gonna go to sleep?
Am I gonna go to sleep? I'll probably watch an episode of Quintessential Quintuplets and then I'll go to sleep.
What's that?
It's a rom-com.
Oh, okay.
That's your question. What's that?
Yes. All right. Good question, Claire.
Oh, I know. I read somewhere your favorite. I was going to say, what's your favorite? It's Your Lie in April, right?
Yes.
But what are your other favorites?
Anohana is
that a movie?
No, it's a 12-episode series.
Okay, yeah. I think
yeah. And I think it's a really good coming of age story. Like it was the first show that I watched in earnest last year when that got me into anime, and I rewatched it with a friend like a month and a half ago, and it was better.
Oh really?
After seeing everything, and I was like, yeah, this is some really good stuff. I know some people don't like it, but like I personally really enjoyed it. So Anohana and Your Lie in April are my top 2. Like Anohana, sorry, I'm ranting. I can rant about anime, as people in my server have discovered. Just like I can rant about piano, so and music and anything.
I started a ranting channel.
Yes. Yes. But no, I feel like Your Lie in April I watched and I was like, I love it because it speaks to me personally, but I can point out flaws. You know, like there's things like maybe whatever. But Anohana is like, not only did it spoke to me personally, but like it's also like done very, 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 very well. IMO. So yes.
Okay. What about movies? Anime movies?
Anime movies? I haven't done too much of those yet. Right. So I've done, you know, the OVA movies. So like the movie for Rascal, Does Not Dream of Dreaming Girl, and what was the other? Like Demon Slayer, Mugen Train. You know, but you know, Your Name, and I think The Silent Voice, Koi no Katachi is those are my favorite at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
But yes.
Oh, by the way, when I left earlier, we have a collection of other instruments, and we use these in our performances sometimes.
Oh.
This is
Is that a cow?
and you. It's well, I don't know.
It's like a
sheep,
little
sheep. Yes.
maker.
and it's made of wool, and we got. I think we have three of them. Right?
Yeah, we have a smaller one too.
We couldn't resist. We've tried we have bongos and a rain stick that we used during the performance. Like I was wearing the bongo, and I drum during.
We put surprises in our performances.
You don't say.
But we didn't learn to play these. We just like mess around with it.
Wait, that's so cool. Like what the?
Yeah.
Oh yes, and my most important question, I forgot, Scott. What's your ideal way to brew coffee?
Oh, that.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I was against getting an AeroPress for a long time just because I thought plastic. I didn't want my water.
Next time, maybe you
water.
should do like a coffee stream.
He
with
did.
him.
Oh, he did.
With
Joint
him.
coffee stream.
Yeah, all these things that looks like a chemistry lab.
Yeah.
Okay, so clearly Claire does not understand the beauty of AeroPress coffee.
So, yeah, but I guess a few months ago I bought one, and it's great. It's so consistent and easy to use. Yeah, and I was originally. The first time I tried it was not good. I don't know. I put too much water and it was so weak. But afterwards, I watched a bunch of videos and started trying the inverted. But then I saw. Did you see Hoffman's latest?
I did.
And then he didn't do any of that fancy stuff, and so I've been. I used to turn it upside down. Like,
Who's hot?
oh, he's like this. He's like the Watt piece of coffee.
Coffee.
Yes.
Oh, there's a world out there I don't know.
This is
So,
the whole world of coffee.
I see.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I just follow his simple method. Yeah, and I alternate. If she's having coffee too, then I'll do a V60 or siphon. Have you done that before?
I've not. So I don't have any pour overs. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you want a bigger.
Yeah.
And can you make 2 cups with an AeroPress?
So what I typically do is I mean, I forget what James said about like diluting, but I'll typically like dose stronger and then dilute.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I also have a French press at home that can do like, I don't know, how much is it? Like a quart? I don't know how much a quart is, 2 mils. So, like 1 liter almost ish, right? A little bit more.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, more than a liter, but like I think right because 250 mils is about a cup, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And do you use it every day?
No, I don't. But I think because I grind my beans by hand, so I have to get up and be like, yes. Okay, Scott. Okay, basically Scott's being like, what's your excuse, Caleb? What's your excuse? Why don't you drink coffee every? No, I'm kidding. But sometimes I'll get up and it's like, you know what? I just don't feel like grinding beans. So, but or I'm like, actually, no, I don't. Caffeine does not have like a very noticeable impact on me. So so it's like I'll just drink it and I'll just feel normal. If I drink too much, then I'll feel a crash without any of the benefits.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. One thing is I never drink a large amount. Like my cup will be this small, so the amount of grinding is very quick. So it doesn't bother me. But if you're gonna brew like, I don't know, a large quantity, then grinding is 2 times.
Yeah. So I usually make a cup to like 2 cups because I like the taste and I like sitting on it for a while. So, but
I'm so happy you guys found each other.
We can learn about AeroPress together. Talk about Hoffman's latest videos.
Everyone leave the chat.
Did everyone leave?
Yeah, we're viewership is down. Thanks, Scott. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, I suppose that about does it for this stream. Yeah. Honestly, thank you guys so much for coming on and
Thank you
collaborating. Yeah. I mean, there's more things planned for the future, as I suppose you guys know, or maybe if you don't know, now you do. So be on the lookout for that. Are there announcements that I make? Oh, Mad Piano Life. Brandon is back. Hello, Brandon. Yes, you are back. Oh yeah, I need to. I feel like I'm like dismissing a class, right? Every time I do this, it's like announcements, right? Yes, announcements. Next week I am sight reading music on stream, but it's going to be your music, so you should submit music in my Discord, and I will play your music. And at some point we are doing a Chopin Ballade in G minor masterclass, so please join the Discord as well and look out for announcements for that and how to submit your playing and show up on stream and get taught, I guess. So, yes, but that's about it. And community posts will be out. Join the Discord. Join the Meeks Duo's Discord. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. I don't know, seek them out for private lessons or something, as that was a major theme halfway through the stream. And then if they're not to your liking, you can always come to me, or maybe come to me first. But I guess either one works. But anyways, thank you everybody. Thank you, Meeks Duo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yes, we'll see you guys next time.